What if I told you the secret to Stevie Ray Vaughan's tone was on your pedal board? Well, not really, but I know some guys who will be able to tell us with a healthy dollop of fuzz. It's the guys from Pedal Porn. I'm Hello Sailor Joe. Welcome to today's episode. My co-host is...
I'm John Mulholland, Space Wolf. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to the 13th episode on January 13th under a full moon.
All right, guys, how's it going?
Mate, that was a slick entrance. If me and Paul did that, that would be nowhere near as good as that, would it?
Be carnage when it was just
yeah.
on the floor. Yeah.
I had a career as a radio broadcaster, so I have a little bit of experience doing this stuff, mate.
Well, there we go.
It's the first time I've remembered to press record or live. Normally I do the intro. I'm like, is it on? Oops.
Hey, Mr. FX, Mike Rivers is in the chat already. One of our
Mike, love it.
Usual suspects,
hey? He's usually the first to build anything that we mention, isn't he? Oh
man, he does amazing stuff too. Like his instruments are amazing. Like the guitars, the like cigar box banjos, like all kinds of really cool stuff. Man after my own heart.
Those cigar box guitars are crazy, aren't they?
They're really cool.
Yeah, I've got one back over here. It's built out of a 1-gallon solvent can that I made that's fretless, and I put a piezo pickup that I made on it, and we ran it through a bunch of Mogurfogers and then bowed it. Like it turned into a psychedelic monster piece. So
I can't even play normal guitar.
yeah,
I mean, I've got friends that they say that they can play the radio and that's about it. So they can hit play on the CD player or play on the MP3 or.
The worst thing I ever did was get one of them wiretap things, because now I just plug my pedals into it to test them, just play the wiretap, and it's just a recording. So now I never practice.
Yeah, but I like to test for sensitivity. I like the tactile response that I get from actually playing through an instrument, and you can't really tell like how your cleanup's going to go, with your potentiometers and stuff if you're just depending on a pre-recorded loop.
It's very true, very true.
So.
But then it's listening to someone who can play or listening to me like strangle a chord,
Hey.
I'm with you.
So what's everyone been up to over the holiday period?
Well,
I was ill.
Yeah. Yeah.
I caught that bloody quademic bug or whatever it was called.
Yeah, a lot of people went through that.
Going on.
Yeah. I dodged that. I felt it coming on, but I did all the things that I do. So
hid away. Didn't come out. Drunk lots of juice.
I've got kids. There's no hiding from it. You're getting sick, aren't you?
Yeah, we've been like, I think did you get it at one of the gigs, Paul? Because
yeah, it was that bloody Philip Sace, wasn't it? Giving me his lurgy when we were on the stage. I'm joking.
But he got hit with it.
The video of his board was insane.
Yeah. I like literally Philip's. I think he's only just got over it. He got like some form of bronchitis from the bug that we gave him in the UK because we're so generous. And it knocked him for 6. I think he's literally only just done his first gig at the weekend since the UK tour finished. So yeah, it was a bit bad. But yeah, his pedal board is sensational, isn't it? It's like
that you can feel the volume even through like headphones,
But the thing is, we didn't have any, actual mics there or anything, so it was coming just through the camera audio, and it's we had to have it on 1, like setting 1 out of like 30, because any more than that and it literally exploded. So, and we were lucky that the 1 volume like didn't go crazy, but it was. I mean, it's not a horrible loud though. That's the thing, is it, Paul? It's not like it's
no, it's amazing. Like you can feel it hitting you, but it's just so fucking good. It's bonkers. If you haven't seen him live,
I love that feeling.
It's something else.
Yeah, you can't. I
genuinely learned how to set a fuzz face from it might have been either Total Guitar or Guitarist mag years ago. He was in an article where he was talking about reducing the fuzz until the frying bacon sound goes away, and I was like, that's it. Set it all up full and reduce it until that goes away. You set.
And wow.
Yeah.
And then just ride the guitar volume, innit? Into
exactly.
That's great. But it was such a
it must be a bit weird seeing your pedals on his board. That's got to be it.
Well, it's quite funny because he put the Cowboy King on for the sound check, and although Chris had put this is on the sound check vid, a load of people thought he was actually using it at the gig, and then we got quite a few people saying, "You lying bastards! He didn't use it at all." We were like, "No. He tried it out, and then he put his because he literally doesn't change. You know, he's got his setup, and that's it. And it chop and change stuff every now and then, but he literally spend about a month with the pedal before he would put it anywhere near his board. So we were blown away that he even put it anywhere near his board. And, I mean, the sound he got was bonkers, wasn't it? It was stupid.
It's such a weird feeling seeing something that you've created like being used there and then, isn't it? It's like a weird concept, and it's but then like we were chatting to him the other day, and he was saying he was getting to know it over the last month, and it's like Paul was saying, it's quite a lot of players, they like to actually really get to know something before they push it on their board, because of having it on your board, it means you're going to be taking it around the world, doesn't it? So it's like, it's a big undertaking. So it's
but also the internet's the internet, isn't it? So someone's always going to criticize you.
You don't have to tell us about that, mate, because we get our
like us.
I pretty much get 50% hate mail as opposed to like good comments. You know, I love it.
It's funny because
it makes for some entertaining comment sections for sure.
I love a good argument.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, we definitely instigate a lot of that sort of stuff. But I don't.
What do you mean, me? It's you. Who does it? I just have to play the part, you bastard.
Yeah, you just send me all the screenshots. yeah. Paul just like every day is like sending me screenshots saying, "Did you see this guy? You should like, you know." But it's with your stuff, Joe. I don't think you.
I don't ask for it. I just
you don't ask for it.
Oh, he does ask for it. Don't get out, man. You do.
I went after Josh Scott in a friendly sort of way. That was a little bit of a.
He says, "Leave your comments below, even if you hate on me. I want it all." You call that not asking for it? Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
But I must say that I must say, Joe, it's really nice to see you go really ramping up the content. Like, it seems like the last however long you've really like gone for it, and I think it was sort of needed.
It was after Birmingham. I sat down and said, you know what, I love teaching people. I'm no longer at sea, so I don't get the chance to teach anyone anything. I'm sat behind the desk and I was like, I want to start teaching again. This seems like a good way I could do that. I enjoy the filming process and stuff. I realized that I still know nothing. That's the funny thing. But the fact that I realize it means I'm going to get better.
That's the only way to be, man. Like anytime I figure I've got it all figured out, I'm in big trouble. If I think I know everything about something, man, I'm in huge trouble at that point.
If I look at like 3 videos ago, I cringe because it's so bad. And so as long as I'm improving every video, I'm happy with it. Like,
it's funny with that.
Weird, Joe, now that you're not seeing people at work all the time, like out at sea and at the ports and stuff. Is it kind of weird, that transition?
Weird. Yeah, I mean, it is weird. Loads has happened in the last year. Like one of my lads from my last ship died up in Scotland. There's like some sort of murder investigation going on, and it's just weird because I'm out the loop now. I'm literally just a line manager, you know. So I have 60 sailors who report to me daily, and I don't know, you check the shoes and stuff. It's nothing basically. So
you got the pie job for your 22 years in service.
Yeah, well, they give me 2 years extra. Sit behind the desk and say, "Wear your uniform today. Turn up for work on time." It's fucking easy. I mean,
it's like
a gift.
It
sounds
is.
like your job, Paul. A pedophile.
I know, right? Yeah. Cheeky bastard.
But to be fair, Paul, do you know how hard it was to try and get like a picture of you for the thumbnail? I just give up in the end.
Because of a shine off my head.
Well, you're never in like a straight picture ever. You're always like a little short video clip here or whatever. Chris is like a peacock every opportunity he gets. It's fantastic. Fair. It took me. It must have took me 3 seconds to get a picture of him.
It's weird actually. I pop up in a few, don't I? And then Chris is just taking getting the money all the time on himself. And
there's something to be said for photogenics. I had that, face made for radio thing at one point, so I know how it goes.
The problem with Paul is the last shot we uploaded of Paul was him in a cowboy outfit.
Yeah.
So you can't use that for
thought
the
you were
podcast.
going to say he was in a wedding dress.
Yeah.
That's next week.
You're
I'm off in
Rodman.
visions back to my stag do there. Let's never speak of that again.
You know, I feel like I've seen a picture of that, Joe. Have you posted it? I feel like I've seen a
Do you
picture
know
of
what?
you in a dress.
It might be. There's plenty on my Facebook, mate. Jesus.
I've gone into the archives there, that deep into yeah.
Steady.
Yeah.
Steady.
With the music festivals I've been to and the parties I've been to, there is no telling what's out there in photographic evidence. So I have no comment.
I forget where
Yeah,
did we go
I
to
feel you.
Skegness or somewhere like that for my stag do? It was rough, man.
Skeggy.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think 3 hours in, I was dressed in a wedding dress, cut off at the waist, pretty much. And all the lads were dressed as scousers with big wigs on and all sorts, like tashes. It's horrific.
Oh yes,
got
it's
to
like
be
a
done,
Monty
hasn't it?
Python episode all over.
Oh, mate. I'm a sailor. We're meant to get dressed up. It's just a thing.
It's a tradition out there, I'm sure. Right.
See,
of
I'm not a
passage.
sailor, and I still dressed up for my
Yeah.
stag do. I think I was wearing hot pants. and
I think
tights.
it's an English rite of passage from like everything that my viewing. Like I grew up watching British television from the time I was a wee lad, so I mean, that's why I can understand all of you. All your accents are just all familiar to me. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're gonna be in the woods whenever you hear this guy or that guy." I was like, "You have no idea. It's right up my alley, in my wheelhouse and all."
To be fair, you throw
I'm
yourself in
easy.
the deep end with us three.
I sound just like the Queen, so you're all right.
Yeah.
Which one?
Well,
Which one?
But speaking of stag do's quickly, I'm sure you've seen this 1,000 times, Joe. I'm not sure, John, how many times you've seen our Instagram post of this, but the John Mayer green mankini.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, yeah. We for my drummer and best mate's stag do recently, we all dressed up in one of those green mankinis. So, yeah, thankfully no pictures on social media, so that's all.
Oh yeah, that you know of.
yeah, there will
Allegedly.
be. Don't you worry.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
yeah, allegedly. Yeah.
Whoever invented smartphones ruined the Navy, let me tell you.
I think they ruined a lot of us, mate.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning of COVID, we pulled into Gibraltar. So the UK's in lockdown. There's no drinking. And my wife's like, be careful. Like, I'm not even going out, love. And she was like, all right, whatever. And then I end up levered out in the pub with all the lads. And there's this American guy on the ship. He's the only American. He doesn't know the rules, no camera phones. So he's blasting pictures everywhere. My wife said,
no.
did you go out last night? And I was like, no. And she just sent me like 12 pictures. I'll be like, fucking hell, even I didn't know that happened.
Oh, I know.
I can neither
So, did you
confirm
get a
nor deny
tattoo?
that was
Like,
me.
no. Like, what's this? Oh, shit, yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, that's the infamous tattoo, isn't it?
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I had an American Coast Guard guy work for me. And I said to him, I'm going to get a British flag tattooed on you. And the first port we got into, I got absolutely levered the first day and ended up with a fucking American flag.
Well, half American, half British. You guys,
Yeah,
you guys
compromised.
agreed to split the difference.
We should
Oh,
get a
man.
matching tattoo, Paul, shouldn't
Getting some more
Yeah,
people
what's
in.
gonna be, though?
Wade's making his drive on the way home.
I,
Oh yeah.
I can't even
Oh.
I can't even imagine my worst tattoos, mate. Some of them are they're terrible. You'll probably get me cancelled, so I won't.
Where's the
go
worst
into-
position you've got one?
These days,
The worst position, as in the most painful, or the one that is a bit weird.
And is it visible or did it have to be inserted?
I've got one sorted on my pubic bone, one on my big toe, one on my
I
arse.
feel like we need to back out of this now pretty quickly.
Yeah.
toes gotta hurt, man.
Anyway, guitar pedals.
Yeah. You know what? I've got the first ever guitar pedal I built. Oh no, the third ever guitar pedal I built in front of me. I might get a portrait of it. That's
Yeah.
something like that. That'd be cool.
That'd be cool, actually. Yeah. What was the first one you built?
Well, I'm looking at it now. It's called the double doll face. It's it's rubber. I don't even know what's inside it. The circuit looks like, I can only describe it looking like a snake's wedding with glue over the top. It's just horrific. I don't know who made it,
Does it
but
sound good?
no.
Or does it work?
Well, it doesn't. So I built it in 2008, and the guy who bought it from me has had it all that time. And he sent it in to me for the service, and I took the back off, and I was just like, it was covered in like electrical sealant, so you could barely get to it. And the wires looked like they were soldered by a 5-year-old. And that's all.
Yeah.
I said to him, if I give you the new pedal, can I have this one? Just sentimental. And he was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, we did that a bit actually.
Decades later.
Yeah, yeah. So we did that. We sort of reclaimed some of the early ones because they didn't have like LEDs and stuff, and people would send them back for one with an LED, and then we ended up. Some of them I was just like, I actually want this because I had like a Veriboard, old school, like really shonky thing inside. So I was like, I want to keep that back for our little place, But yeah. Also, you do feel bad sending it back out.
Yeah, exactly that. Some of them I take the back off them like. There's a guy, Rich Land. He runs Tethered to the Polestar. Have you seen that? He does like daily photographs of gear and stuff. So he bought like a Rangemaster off me, a Gibbons one anyway. He sent it back, and I opened it up, and I was just like, I can't. I ended up sending him another pedal with that pedal back as a way of saying sorry. It's just horrific.
No,
but that's the thing, though, isn't it? You do have to start somewhere, and even if you look at the early JHS stuff, it's very old school, like homebrew almost. It's quite cool and edgy. Like it's quite charming when you look back at it. To be fair, like
what you would imagine boutique to be.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's weird. So I felt a bit weird about mine. I was like, do I really want to try and get that back? I mean, I'm not a big builder. It's just an old pedal at this point, a rubbish old pedal. And then I thought, well, JHS was that at some point, so why not? Yeah. It's probably worth chasing them all down.
Yeah. What's your goal? Like, would you want to ever be like JHS in terms of like selling quadrillions of pedals a year, or what would you say?
I don't know. I think I'm more aiming for like the Cochrane sort of, the old Timmy guy. He just builds them, sells them, and now he's called it a day. I mean, you guys have like scaled up, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a weird one because there's like different little categories that you can fall into, isn't there? That's like like you just said. I think that's a good. Like, if you stop selling them, everyone would be like, Joe from Hello Sailor is like, that's, they'd always look back on them as like, we need to get one now because you've built up such an amazing brand. But like I say, it wouldn't be. You wouldn't just be like selling, thousands of thousands where they become redundant if you ever stop it.
It's kind of JHS and Brian Wampler. At the beginning, they were like, Brian Wampler was the indie guitarist. He's the guy that you logged on to try and read his posts and learn what he's doing and learn how to build pedals. And then now he's like Brian Wampler. Everyone, mass produced. I'd say he's probably my idol in the pedal building world. Definitely.
Yeah, you make that quite apparent. If you stuck his hand in a fire, you would, right? If Brian Wampler stuck his hand in a fire, I'd stick it in there too.
If you open those curtains behind you, you've got an I Love Brian Wampler badge.
You were saving that for later, Paul. You've ruined it now.
He's cable tied to a chair, just like this one.
Speaking of images that I can't get out of my head now. Oh my god!
Has he got the same outfit from your stag do on though?
We just
got the one Bo Diddley was wearing in the video that I just saw. Did you see that Bo Diddley funk with like the giant leather straps on him playing Hey Bo Diddley? Oh man, that was class. Like the 70s were different for sure.
Right. See, my thing is, I think Brian Wampler's living a dream now, isn't he? He's just doing whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He's just released a pedal building course, so he's obviously quite fancy teaching.
Yeah, I keep seeing that on Facebook every day. Yeah.
One of the guys who watches the podcast is actually doing a course. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We got Wadey on his way, traveling, no doubt.
Oh yes.
Ray, how's it going?
That's a nice strap. Profile picture.
Do you know what? I've been on a Strat journey, and now I was like settled on my perfect Strat, and then probably about a week ago when I was doing a bit of research into this show, looking for pictures basically to make a thumbnail. I started looking at strats again, and I was like, "Oh, I quite fancy a rosewood board now." No, don't look.
Gotta have one of each, a maple and a rosewood, man.
I love how they sound, and I love how
Right
they look.
behind me.
I hate how they feel. Hate them.
Really?
They're too long. There's all horns in the way and shit. It's just I can't. The bridge as well. I like to rest my palm on the bridge, and the bridge is like not in the way. It's kind of weird.
But you like the look of them. You want to like them, but you just don't.
Yeah, I'm a massive Hendrix fan, mate. He's just like, yeah, I love him. So I'm Roger Mayer as well. Absolutely love Roger Mayer.
And
say it all the time. My
buddy guy.
First Fuzz. Yeah. My first Fuzz was called the Wind Cries Mayer, but I had to change it because people kept saying to me, "Oh, typical, you're a John Mayer fan." Like, well, I am a John Mayer fan, but that's not what it's about.
It's about Roger.
Roger Mayer, British Admiralty, Navy. No, whatever.
Honestly, it's crazy how people sometimes get things wrong like that, isn't it? We have a common joke with pedal porn where half of our products just get mispronounced and miss out certain words. It's like, yeah, it's tricky to get it to stick. And then people
I know.
Yeah.
How do you go about naming them?
Get drunk.
Yeah.
Let's see. Fire one up. Drink a few cups of coffee. Maybe a couple of shots of stout, and that sounds good.
It's a weird one. I struggle.
But some of it is you have to look at what, like the Octone was quite hard to find something where the name hasn't already been
done.
So many, and that kind of drives you, like, because we had loads of suggestions, didn't we, Chris? And it was like, no, that's new. No, not that. No.
Well, thankfully, I'm quite on it in terms of the trademark stuff, because I'm like, honestly, I think Paul, we went through this, and one of our other engineers, we had this where they sent me like 10 different names, and I sent them like 8 screenshots back of like, they're all out there already. And then the 2 that they weren't out there was a reason that they weren't out there, because they were just such bad names. It's like,
it's got to make sense to the project as well, hasn't it? Like the Octone, you know what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Whereas, for example, we've got the chicken quiff, and it makes no sense to anyone. So it's like,
that's my favourite name of your pedals, by the way. I was going to bring that up, and I love the fact that it's got a massive chicken on the front.
But by the way, John,
well, actually, it makes sense to a lot of players.
I was going to say, John, this is a question to you. Is from not being in the UK, obviously over here we have quiffs like this. It's like a quiff, but
if you can grow it.
What? Yeah. Sorry, Paul.
But some of us do, right?
But
we'd call that the same thing. Is like what did they call it back in the 50s? Like it was a greaser hairstyle from the
you mean like Grease Lightning?
Well, like from like Fonzie and like the late 50s, the hot rod culture. They'd have a ducktail on the back too. Like you'd have a coif up front and a ducktail on the back. And like that's a classic rock thing. So
there's something for you, Chris, from Wadey. The blueprint. That's your new pedal, isn't it?
I was just reading that. That's very, very kind. Thank you, Wadey. That's.
He's got so much good gear. He has.
Yeah, I can just tell by the profile picture. No more needs to be said. It's like we know he's got good gear.
So what was the thinking behind the blueprint for the name? You're going for like just the blues pedal, is that a?
Yeah, well, that's one of those things where like blues print, like
you can't even remember.
Yeah, but it's funny because there was no. It felt like a really obvious name, but there was like no one had done it. So I was just like, actually, it's sort of just. I think that was one of those eureka moments of like blues print. It makes sense because it's going to look like a blueprint, but you want it to be bluesy for the.
It was like the blueprint of tone, wasn't it? Was the form behind it? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Paul. That was it, actually. Yeah. Not what I just said.
Paul coming in to save the day there.
Yeah.
I let him go for a while and then think, oh, better step.
Yeah. That's how it normally goes, isn't
it? Throw him a life raft eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know if it works for you guys the same way, but a lot of times some of the best names just come to you out of the blue and they fit and you don't know why. It's just like, why did why did that come to me? And it's just like, you know, everything aligns, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like, you know, with,
Well, that was
Yeah.
actually that was the case with the pedal port name in itself, because I was watching that pedal show or something like that, and then it sort of just came to me as I was laying in bed, and I was like, that's the name for a company for some reason. For some reason, yeah.
Do you know what? Do you know what it reminds me of? It's so mental. When I was a kid, I had this massive orange poster. I was a bit of a like a what do you call it? Like a scally, I wanted to be basically a gangster.
Yeah.
And I had this massive poster on my wall of a pawn holding a gun, and it said something like I don't know, hardcore porn on it. And the way that you spell porn, it's on that poster, and I was like, I wondered if he was a twat like me when he was younger.
I also want to be a gangster. Yeah, just sat there like both at the same time.
Well, yeah, I thought it's just perfect with putting pedal on it. It's like the perfect branding.
Well, I think, to be fair, there was those shows going around at the time as well, like hardcore porn, porn stars, all those, you know.
oh yeah,
porn
it was
shows.
like a zeitgeist thing.
Yeah. So
Late night decision, was it?
We've got the Fuzz master himself.
Hey,
Hello, Adam.
here he is.
Hey,
Electric.
I'm
I'm living the dream, mate. I hope you are.
Yeah, it looks like Aaron's got some crazy thing that he's teasing all over at the moment.
With a
It's really
battery.
cool. Yeah.
Thingamabob.
Yeah.
Thingamabob. Technical
Yeah.
term, isn't it? Thingamabob.
And
It
there's
looks epic. though.
whatchamacallits
Really cool.
and
What? Yes.
What is it? Like a battery power supply makes it sound like a battery, is it? Or
I think actually you can adjust what it's actually pumping out, but I'm sure there's way more cool stuff going on with it than what I can
it's
explain.
probably a
It's all secret.
like a voltage.
Your battery puts a bit of capacitance, doesn't it, in there as well? Is that right? I might be talking on me arse there, but
Well, I mean,
I'm pretty sure.
his teasers just look like it's, you know, if you're a fuzz guy, it looks like you just and you use batteries with your fuzzes, then you definitely want to check it out. So yeah, I think me and Paul will be checking them out, won't we? Because
hey.
Hello,
Hey,
Justin
good evening,
Drawbridge. There's another guy who makes some amazing fuzz pedals.
oh yeah. Yes, I feel like you got such a cool community of like guys that all just get together, help each other out, and like it's a proper.
I
some people don't.
feel like the whole guitar thing's like that. I've never, so far, I've only met one or two people actually that have not been like that. It's
me and
really
Paul.
weird.
Me and-
Yeah,
We're the ones.
exactly.
Get in, mates. Come on.
Yeah.
Join the party.
Yeah, but
No,
no, you
I
are
mean-
right. There's a few select people that obviously you don't want to. You can tell from afar that you wouldn't want to associate with them just because they're loose cannons. But then there's
Oh yeah,
the guys that would be commenting tonight who are
Yeah.
just got the love. They've got the love at the forefront of, of the pedals. It's like it's not about the money or the fame that you've got now, Joe. Like, it's not about all that.
I tell you what, do you know what did happen in Birmingham that blew my mind? This little old woman, I don't know if you've seen her going round. She must have been about, I don't know, she was old enough to be my mum, put it that way, and I'm no spring chicken. And she come up to me with her husband, and I was just about to say to him, start talking to him about guitars, and she was like, don't talk to him, he doesn't play guitar, he's always telling me to turn it down. And she started saying hello to me like she knew me, and I was like, wow, that's mental.
Yeah.
She's been watching
really
your
cool.
YouTubes.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I think I've only just really done one or two videos then, but it's weird. I don't expect people to recognize me, not like you guys, because you've got what? Your following must be massive now on YouTube. I've been following you for some time.
Well, I tell you what's funny with Paul. If we go to a gig sometimes, like because Paul's not in a lot of the videos, but we'll be hanging around and Paul gets like swamped by people later. Like it's funny, it's fucking hilarious.
Weird, yeah. Most people like ignore me and they're like, I sort of reckon that, but you look like I'm a granddad kind of thing. And then a few people are like, oh my God, Paul, check this out. And it'll be like, that's kind of weird. But it's really cool. But yeah, it's quite bizarre. Sometimes it's either no one has any idea who I am, and I'm sort of like, oh, no.
And I was just so fortunate that like early on, Dan and Mick from that pedal show put a pedal on. But before that, bloody Danish Pete did a demo of one of my pedals. Like a year before that.
I know. It was
Honestly,
awesome.
mate, I was still building them on my wife's dining room table. I had no right to be, associated with him in any way, and he just did it for free. So that's what put me on the map, I think. And Chris Book as well. Chris Book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's where I first saw one of your pedals. Actually, Joe was on a Chris Buck Friday Fretworks episode, and I was like, "Oh, that looks ace." Yeah.
Well, the thing is, because I started building pedals, I had no concept of the internet. I was always away at sea, and I just sort of like discovered YouTube and guitar pedal demos and stuff. And I was like, Chris Buck's amazing. I'm sending him a pedal.
Yeah.
Not realizing this guy's like uber famous and a little bit busy. So I heard nothing back from him. And I was like, oh, well, whatever. And then he messaged me like, I don't know, 6 months later and said, buy Guitarist Mag this month. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then there's one of my pedals. Like, no.
Awesome.
Yeah,
He's a
That's
top
good.
note, though, isn't he?
We had a similar
he's
thing with
amazing.
Chris. I think Paul found. I think you first saw the pedal Paul and Fuzz through Chris Buck.
Well, it was it was before that. It was actually did a review of a JHS double barrel, and then I got the horn for one, and then you were selling some because when you'd done some deals with Josh Scott, and then I bought one of those from you, and then I saw the Fuzz thing. It was like, oh, I like the sound of that, and then. Being a cheeky twat, I was like, "Oh, can I buy a kit? Because I'm too much of a cheapskate to buy the whole pedal." And that's how we sort of got chatting, wasn't it? And then that's sort of the early history of when I joined on board. So,
and that was really
the question is, did he let you buy a kit or did he make you buy the full pedal?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got.
He's just saying
that's how good the kit was. That's how good the kit was. It blew him away.
I think the cat might be pulling some tricks on him. She's been walking around in the background, and so suddenly it's like, you know how cats are. They see keys and they just have to go mine.
Yeah,
so,
I think they did.
That absolutely looked like Chris, who pulled some string there and just turned them off because he got to say something. So we got some more from Aaron here telling us about his. So it's more than just voltage. Voltage one part of it, yeah. So internal resistance. Sorry, I'm moving around me.
Yeah,
here because I can't see the screen. Class. I need to try that out.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Adam's like the master of fuzz, isn't he?
Yeah, that takes all those factors into consideration that you would have running off battery power.
Yeah.
Did the cat get you, Paul?
I don't know what I did. I must have clicked my mouse and then it smacked the button and everything shut down. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? So God knows what I managed to do, but I'm a twat. So do apologise.
Aaron's put on his mum's been awarded the Royal Victorian Order.
Ooh.
Oh,
wow.
So it looks like he might be coming to the UK. Mate, if you come to the UK, you need to hit me up. Absolutely.
Yeah, same here, Aaron. If you're coming over, mate, yeah, we need to nerd out on some serious fuzz territory.
So I've got
to bring those little battery things on the pedal.
Stick one in each pocket, yeah.
A suitcase full of transistors. Speaking of people coming over from America, well, he's in Canada, isn't he? Well, that side of the world. I've got Todd from the Guitar Knobs coming over for a week to see Oasis.
It's still
nice.
It's still
she got
tickets,
tickets. Bloody hell.
My wife literally spent 2 days on the phone, and she missed it the first time round, and there was like a prize draw or something. She ended up winning tickets, so I got two tickets for the last day.
Sweet.
Todd's like a massive Oasis fan as well, so it's fell into line for me 40th birthday as well.
Oh.
I know, well, look, 30 years
I remember
old.
being 41.
Hey, I don't know if I'm actually the oldest one on now. Hey, 55, so I don't know.
Well, it's always
we might be in the same ballpark.
Well, I look a bit aged of what my age normally is, but feel free to have a guess. And normally people get it way wrong, and it makes me chuckle.
Well, you just said you're older than me. I'm going to say 45.
I love you, Joe. There's always a reason why I've liked you.
Go on, John. What would you reckon, mate?
53.
Fucking hell. I don't like you anymore.
I mean, I'm guessing, biological age, not chronological age, though. So
I feel like
how
15,
they say,
it's
exactly. Hey,
yeah,
it's all how you feel.
Exactly. There we go. It's all.
No, you're only 30, you're only 32, aren't you? You've had a hard life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm younger than all of you.
So I used to think, I can just reverse my age. When I was like 52, I'm 25. Now I'm 55, so I'm stuck. Forwards and backwards, it doesn't matter.
I literally hit the big 3
in the Navy 40's dead.
Yeah.
30 years old.
Yeah, I hit 30, and as soon as I hit 30, my knees started giving out there and then. Honestly, I can feel it. Literally, my knees just stopped working.
It's downhill from there, mate.
Yeah, I can tell.
Hey. What are you?
I've started doing that thing where you go when you're standing up. I don't know where that comes from. It's the past 2 years, maybe.
Oh no. do you
So
find,
I
used to
suggest
like
a
going to
strong
the
diet of
children's room.
Romulan ale.
Hey,
do you find anything like if you're sat there, Joe, doing repetitive stuff? Do you ever find your fingers get shot to crap or anything? Or are you okay?
No, mine's right in my shoulder here, up here. I don't know, on my knees, of course, in the cold and whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm used to working long hours, so I kind of just don't know. It's really weird. I think it was doing me more damage not being on board the ship and working long hours. It was starting to drive me a bit insane, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah, if you're used to that kind of schedule, man, you're just like, what do I do with my time?
My wife keeps telling me up. She's like, why are you getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and working before work? I'm like, well, if it was on board, I'd just do the morning watch. Don't get paid anything extra for it. You just do it. So now I'm working for myself, Just drives me mad.
How do you find that, Joe, though? Because you must have a million things to do with just Hello Sailor, let alone your other commitments. So how do you manage that? Because
Mate, it sounds neurotic, but I don't have spare time where like normal people will like walk to work or whatever. I walk to work, answer emails, do social media on the way to work.
Yeah.
And halfway round to get me coffee, so I have to like one-hand it. And then while I'm in work, I do my emails in work first, then I'll have an hour of editing video, pretending that I'm talking to students, but I'm editing video, like one headphone in. So unprofessional. If anyone from the Navy's watching, I definitely don't do this. And then I basically made through my working day, I just work any admin, Hello Sailor. And then I do family at home. So I have my 5-year-old until she goes to bed about 8 o'clock, then my wife until 12. And then I'll either sleep for 4 hours or I'll work for 4 hours and then do reverse and then repeat.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you guys plan it? Are you like a lady at leisure, or,
No. I the last 3 or 4 months, it's been absolutely manic. Like it's been stupid. Like exactly what you just described. I'll be like, trying to tie in 50 things at once. It's been horrible. In fact, it's made me think twice about even getting, growing this to the next level, because it's like I don't think I'd even want it because it's like horrendous. It's just too much. So yeah, I want to try and get to a bit of a balance again. So we're not too flat out, because I don't think it's healthy. I mean, I've always worked super hard, but this last few months has been stupid. So I'm trying to, wean it off a bit.
I don't take pre-orders for that reason, because I think about it all the time.
Avoiding burnout is key, man. If you get burned out, you're not going to love doing it anymore. If you don't love doing it anymore, you become a slave to it instead of it being your like passion and avocation. So
that's it. I mean, I know
where you start having to worry about compliance and different regulations that you have to meet. Like when you get to a certain point, like we found, there's a lot more focus on those companies, and you have to start playing by the rules, and it basically adds a lot of cost to the business and time and effort getting all that data for all the parts and components. It's one of those you sort of think, I wish we could go back like 6 months and not have to do it. Once you get there, you can't go backwards on it. It's kind of a pain in the arse, and like people like
I don't think that fits my model though.
Yeah, no,
I don't think I'll ever be able to be like that because of the parts I use.
Well, no, and also, my mindset, like I'm, Gen X, like supersonic nomad. He says he's 56 in April. We're non-compliant. Like, you tell us, you tell us something like we're like, no, fuck you. That's it.
I use leaded solder on old components that are covered in leaded solder. I mean, there's no. I don't think it could be ROSH compliant or it's not CE anymore, is it? UK, whatever.
UK,
I always joke I can still send pedals to Europe because mine are vintage, and you can still send vintage stuff over there without the charge.
I don't know. Yours is a different kettle of fish because you've got all those old school components, and I believe you are allowed to use lead solder if you're fixing and restoring stuff. So it's like you're okay, but when
not on new product though.
Yeah, when we're doing like cookie cutter new stuff, you do have to take it more seriously. But what you touched on a minute ago, Joe, is taking pre-orders. That's what's got us caught out because
that'll get you.
Yeah, we got super smashed over Black Friday, and I kept thinking we can do this because we got the the manpower behind it to do it, and then it's been relentless. It's been crazy. But so
Yeah.
maybe never again on pre-orders.
I know Steve Demerdash quit his job because he had 6 months worth of orders ahead of him, and he's like, I can quit my job and I'll just work that way. And in the end, he was like, I can't do it. He didn't enjoy it. And then if you look at Zach Broyles from Mythos, he's always saying how hard it is, and he's like, I'm a bit sick of this. I don't want to moan about it. I love being busy, but I'm a bit. And I think, is it really like that? And then I think I took like 3 custom builds as a pre-order, and I just couldn't do it. My brain just could not handle. I felt like I weren't winning. So
yeah. I mean, what gets me is and we're really hot on the customer service stuff. So I will always reply to everyone the same day, 100%, if not in the same hour. But it's getting people just saying, I've ordered this weeks back. Where is it? Because they might not have seen the back order statement on the website and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't like being in debt to anyone, and the constant, where's my pedal? It's like, we are working day and night, literally. So it's like, we can't do any more than that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, as a custom guitar builder, I ran into that all the time. People wanting to pay everything up front, and then they wanted to think that because they paid everything up front, that any changes that had to be made, they didn't owe anything additional because it was a custom piece. And so you get stuck like trying to figure out, what can I get away with? What can I get away with? And then they think that, because it's paid for, that it should be there right now. It's the McDonald's attitude that so many consumers have. It's like they're pulling up to the drive-through, they're expecting it to be handed out the window, and stuff takes time on a small scale. You have to appreciate that.
I had the same thing with them Kossoff guitars I'm doing. So the first 5 went on sale for pre-order and sold almost straight away, and then 3 people were like, "Well, I want the guitar."
Yeah,
I was like, "Well, you paid the £100 deposit. The guitars aren't built; they're getting built now. I'm waiting for them." And they were like, "Well, no, I want them now, or I'll cancel the order." Like, okay,
yeah. I mean
that is the good thing. Right? You can always cancel it. That's the good thing. I mean, but it's like what you just touched on with the McDonald's thing, John. It's like we always call that the Amazon. It's like the same analogy with Amazon. Like you order something, it's there next day, and it's like it's not the same with a small guitar effects pedal.
This was happening before Amazon was even a thing, though. So,
right.
I mean, it was. I was a professional luthier back at the turn of the millennium, so it's kind of
same concept.
Because no one's got the concept of delayed gratification,
Yeah,
you're gonna save
it was already ingrained in society.
Wait for it, or
it was, like if you wanted something new, you just went out and bought it, threw the old one away. We had, like, when I first started getting into guitar, people could find vintage Les Pauls for like $2,000 for like a burst.
Wow.
So. There was no vintage market. Everything was like the whole consumer economy was like, if it wasn't new, it wasn't cool. And that's what the 80s and the early 90s were looking like. And then people started figuring out, well, it doesn't feel as good or doesn't play as good. And that guy's not playing one. So what's up with all these vintage Strats and vintage Les Pauls and vintage amps? And it gradually came back in, and right around like the late 90s, early 2000s, we saw a big resurgence. So.
I'm not allowed to say vintage amps around me anymore, otherwise I buy another one. I'm in trouble with it, mate. I need to stop now.
So I shouldn't say Fender Blackface. I shouldn't say Fender Blackface Deluxe Reverb.
Well, if you said a super, I'd probably fall off my chair.
Steady.
So,
I've just got a Showman head.
Oh, that's a beautiful head, man. Yeah,
64. Nearly 64 blonde Showman.
Oh, nice.
It's unbelievable. I did some work on it, and every comment so far has been either telling me that I'm unqualified.
Chris's face is frozen. Your face froze there for a second, Chris, with the most unpleasant face. I was like, what happened? And I realized it was your screen frozen.
Yeah.
I was like, what did we say? Oh, no.
Yeah. That's now I've hit 30. That's just my face. But
but you've got a super reverb, haven't you, Chris?
Yeah, super rhubarb, as we call them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we've got, I used to have a lovely 64 blackface one, but I sold it when I needed to buy a
Idiot.
house.
Yeah.
And then,
I wish I had so much of my gear back, I tell you.
Yeah.
You can live in a super reverb.
Yeah, exactly.
I could.
That's right.
Jobs are good.
Yeah. I'm a small guy. I could get in there.
But we do have a nice
I never had the
Silverface
space for one. Yeah, that Silverface one's good. I've always wanted one, but they're just so big, and I was like, where am I going to put it? But now I've got a workshop, I can fit it all in there. So
Mate,
now
by the
I'm
way,
just looking at amps.
I loved watching your YouTube video about the workshop. I bet that was good fun getting that ready, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, mate, it was stressful. I just think I'm rubbish at that sort of thing. I know nothing about it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it come together all right.
Yeah, I love the fact you've actually got room for a dedicated YouTube backdrop. It's like it's makes all the difference for you having to just quickly, you know, if you have to set it all up, all that friction makes you non-creative, doesn't it? So
well, it was even worse when I was trying to do it on board, you know, because even building guitar pedals is like everything had to be packed away. And then it'd be like, I go to work, I watch, whatever. Oh, you got an hour, right? Now get your soldering iron, all the gear out components, start soldering. It was like, adds an hour onto everything. So now it's just like bliss. Yeah. But I don't know. I've built less now. I've been so focused on building stuff for YouTube. It gets that's another thing I want to ask you. How do you plan out your videos? How do you know what's coming? Do you just like film on a whim, or do you have like some sort of idea?
It needs to get more structured, but right now we're sort of like a month in advance of, okay, let's film this studio tour, or let's film this pedal demo, or like a reaction video, or something like that. It's quite intuitive at the moment. It's not that structured, but it does need to become more structured, because I don't like feeling I've got to get the video shot, edited and uploaded within the same week, because that's like, even right now I've got that this week and I'm just like, oh, it's just stressful. It's like, you don't want that extra burden. But
you normally always have a couple of weeks worth loaded already, don't you, to make sure it's all there ready.
But for example, this week I said to you I was going to upload that studio tour for next Sunday, but then I ended up doing it this Sunday just because the other one didn't get done in time. And it's good to be able to adapt with it, but I know some content creators that have like 6 months in advance and it's all ready and it's clean.
I got myself 4 weeks ahead, and then Christmas come round and I was like, for this Christmas period I'm going to try and hit 3 videos a week. Let's just do it. And now I've got nothing. I'm one ahead, so I've got to try and
I tell you what, even obviously you're really hot on this as well with the clipped format stuff, like, you know, the TikTok, the YouTube shorts, and you guys like smash that with the podcast side of it, and always got some crazy clips, which again is really
there's even those I think are gold on YouTube, because more people click on those, you're going to get a lot more views all the way through, and then the people that are really interested, because you have a reference link to the video it was clipped out of, they'll go back and watch it, so you get double viewing that way. And
this is all part of my daily routine, mate. So I use AI to clip it all, because I'm not very good with technology. I'm terrible. You know, the first couple of podcasts, I very rarely had a camera and a mic at the same time. It's a nightmare, you know. But I use Opus Clip. If you've ever used that, it's real easy, and it does it all for you. And then on the way to work in the mornings, I go to the gym on the way into work, and I'll just put out a video and put it on all the socials. And I use like ChatGPT to help me optimize the description. And I've had to sort of like scale up from my Neanderthal ways.
Mate, ChatGPT, is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. I feel like I'm a sponsored endorsee of ChatGPT sometimes, because I just talk about it not a lot, but it's just ridiculous. It's like
it's a great tool.
Yeah, it's insane. I can't quite believe it exists, really.
But it's when he sends me an email reply using it and thinks I won't notice that it's ChatGPT and not a real person talking to me. That's knobhead.
It's almost becoming that way, I tell you.
The thing is, I let it speak to me and tell me what, and then I'll say, I'll link it to my YouTube channel and say, make it sound like Hello Sailor Joe has wrote this.
Yeah.
And then it'll redo it.
Yeah, there you go.
You do it a couple of times and argue with it a bit. It tends to, not that I'm sat there arguing with my phone all day, but if you give it a bit of to and fro in it, it'll come
you
back
do have to sort of, you can't just go off with the first thing, because it's quite cheesy sometimes, and it's quite like, it's a bit generic and cheesy, but it can be refined to like it's what you're trying to say, but better than what you can say. It's like, so if you're thinking of something on a thumbnail, that's what takes me the longest. It's got to be 4 words or less. And I know what I want to say, but
my England isn't that very good, so I don't know how to do it. And then you put it into ChatGPT and it comes up with what you want. So
yeah, it's the headline writing craft. Like when I did print journalism, like, you know, the headline's the most important thing. It's only got to be a few words. Like you can't really have a good headline that's longer than 4 or 5 words. Sometimes the best are just one. If you can find one word headline and put it in bold that just says everything and gets the person to read, then yeah.
Well, it's all about like getting the reading age down to 5 on your thumbnail. Here's loads. I've started like I've got this weird obsessive compulsive personality. Whereas some people go, I'm getting into guitars. I can't do that. What I have to do is I need to know
I have to go
how much
in.
wood, what wood is. I need to know the carbon content in the pole pieces. I need to know that. I'm so weird like that. So then when I started doing YouTube, it was like, what makes people click on a video? There's a can of worms you don't want to open. I once, when I was at that pedal show, I said to Mick, any chance you could just run me through your lighting? And I seen the look on his face that said, fuck me, that's a big subject. I was like, what? My lights are don't understand. And now I'm like, oh my God, he must have just looked at me like, what are you talking about, mate?
Yeah. I mean, do you, was you shocked at the whole YouTube journey? Because a lot of people think at the start, like, it's just stick a camera on a tripod, you'll go viral. It's like, it's a proper art to it, isn't it?
So I had this weird thing where it come about that I got this Selmer, this 1963 Selmer Crocskin treble and bass. I was like, I'm gonna service it because it was noisy, it didn't work properly. It's like, I'll service it and I'll film the service, because then if I mess it up, I can go back and watch the film. That sounds like a great thing. And I was just talking away to the camera. I was like, it's going on YouTube. Why not? I put it on there. It got like 300 views, and I was like, I'm famous. Basically. And so I was like, I'll do it again and again. And in work, I happen to have this lad. He actually lives down the road from me. He's got a big YouTube channel. He earns maybe, I don't know, $1,000 a month from YouTube. And he's in the Navy. He's doing like tech reviews. So obviously affiliate links and all of that. Mm-hmm. But I said to him, have a look at my video and see what you think. I'm thinking I can start a YouTube channel. And the absolute horror in his face. He was like, I don't even know what to tell you, mate. I'm his boss twice removed, so he doesn't want to be audible to me. But he's got to tell me, it's a terrible video and you should give up now. And he's just like, it's doing okay. There's just so much to it.
Yeah, because that's the thing. A lot of people actually write to our email now saying, can you not review this, but can you just look at our clip and let us know some feedback? And it's hard to know how far to go with it, because again, a top creator, someone like Paul Davids or something would look at our filming and be like, you guys don't know anything about anything. And it's like, there's different levels to everything, but I was just shocked at the learning curve of like how there's a format to even getting it seen by anyone, because if you just post how you think it should be posted, like me and Paul talk about this, like naturally would be like, you know, me and Paul sit down and review guitar pedals or something, but that's, no one cares if you write that, do they? Because it's just like,
exactly.
It's, it's gotta have something in it. Like the clickbait factor, unfortunately, has become so predominant that you have to stand out from amongst all of that too, and still be genuine. And it's a very, very fine line. I see some people that are putting out things to get you to clickbait on something and to tell you it's not clickbait. And that they just put that there so that you could click on it, so that you would actually watch what they were going to say, because they thought it was that important. So, I mean,
it's a weird one, because it's got to be clickbaity enough that people will click.
Yeah,
there's no point making the best video in the world and then
nobody watches,
playing it down on the cover and stuff. Otherwise, no one's going to click on it.
We get so much hate for that though. Because we do we get so many comments saying, why have you
putting insane on every video?
Insane. The word insane.
That's the clickbait.
Ultimate insane.
Yeah. Amazing, incredible.
That's like the thing.
I mean,
film, isn't it?
Yeah.
That Josh Scott video I did, where it was like, I put that real clickbaity on the thumbnail and title, just because I thought I'm getting clicks this time.
But
if you watch the video itself, there was nothing clickbaity about it. It was just talking about the cost of pedals, and the amount of people that commented on that and give me, Josh doesn't need to charge less for his pedals. But I was like, have you watched the video? I actually say that in the video.
That's probably a good reason why he responded the way he did when I invited him on the show. Maybe we'll get him on soon. So
That'd be mental. Like
That would be
I
great.
don't even know
Yeah,
what to
I'd love to
begin
pick his brain because we kind of came through the same path, working in music stores and getting involved in wanting to modify stuff or build stuff for ourselves. Like for me, the whole journey was about creating a sound. I wanted stuff you couldn't just get off the shelf because as a musician,
he's a
and
walking
creator,
encyclopedia for guitar.
yeah, he really is. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to be able to like own my sound so nobody else could reproduce me because, you know, as a creative type, like I just look at it as a whole. And so that's what really fascinated with me. And like Joe, I'm obsessive and I went down the rabbit hole. I wanted to learn everything: composition of capacitors, composition of diodes, composition of resistors, what different transistors did. So here we are today.
Just don't put videos on the internet about it, otherwise you get slammed, mate. Let me tell you.
Oh man, bring it on. Bring it on. I love that.
The video I posted on Saturday about that amplifier, because when I opened it up, it was full of orange drops, and I was like, "Oh, come on, that's not good."
You thought pedal people were weird? Amp people are really weird,
mate.
man.
So I put the original
you opened a can of worms with the amps.
Yeah, I sourced out the blue molded caps and put them back in. You would think that I was taking a hammer to this amplifier. Some of the comments.
And that stuff was commonplace all the time before people started reading Vintage Amplifier magazine or Vintage Guitar magazine, and having like snake oil sold to them. I can't stand the stuff that happened with that, where you can't keep something in working order without ruining its value. That's absolute hogwash.
Yeah, I think for me though, I just wanted something that was like as close to original as possible.
Yeah, and you know, it's your
as
amp.
long as there's
Do what the hell
transformers
you
with
want
the
to
same
with it.
ones.
You know, it's your amp. Do what you want to
Yeah,
with
exactly.
it. You know, if you wanted to recap it with Tropical Fish, go ahead, man.
I don't know what is everyone's. I thought Tropical Fish were like the best caps in the world when I was like just learning guitar. Now everyone seems to hate them. If I put them in a modified pedal, they despise them. Do you guys find that your fuzz that you do like vintage transistors in sell better than the standard versions, or?
It's hard to quantify that because simply we always do the vintage transistors as limited runs, so naturally there's a bit more of a a natural inclination for them to sell out faster,
and then
big spike.
Like that olive green one you did, that seemed to have sold out like straight away.
Yeah, well that's we've got some that have sold out. Like, I remember once me and Paul were on a call when we first did a little collaboration with Reverb, and we did like just 50 of an orange like fuzz, and it sold out like on the phone while we were there.
Yeah, in like 15 minutes, wasn't it? We were literally going, oh, there's 5, 10, 50.
Yeah, it was
going
crazy.
On? You know,
it was, and then the next time, I think that's when we did the green, the CV7003 one, which is limited edition, but we had way more transistors for them, so like we could just do because I think I bought, how many did I buy? Like
it was like 750, I think. Isn't it?
Yeah, what? I think it was over 1,000 CV in total. Over 1,000. But what's funny is obviously, like I think we then found another 500 of them or something. So we could keep making them, but certain limited edition runs will just be like, we're only going to make 100 and that's it. But the CV one, we kept doing it until we could. It was almost like a regular model. But
that's
I don't know if I've got.
Was it Mark Packham that you did that with? Was it?
What, a Reverb?
Yeah.
Yes, it was back then. Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, he asked me about doing a limited run, and I was like, mate, I build like one pedal at a time. There's just no way. To build 50 pedals, you're going to be waiting until next year.
Oh, yeah.
But would you want to do 50 of the same pedal, though? Because yours are always different, aren't they? So
the internals are always the same. Well, the same. They're the same circuit, but I just couldn't. It doesn't seem right for me to go that. I mean, I spoke to Thorpe about it because he's obviously way down the line, and I said I'm thinking about going down like the standard route, and he said, "Why? You've got something that's different to everyone else. Just do you?" Because I was proper stressing over it. Like I don't want to.
That's the thing. It's almost like you've got a great thing going on, and it's sometimes tempting to be, oh, should I just do this? And you think, oh, okay, the grass is always greener, but you actually could then lose all of your fan base, and it's like you're no longer Joe from Hello Sailor, and you're now just some generic company. It's
Well,
like,
I get a lot of comments on these videos telling me that that you could buy cheap components and put it on a circuit board and make it cheaper. So many people saying to me, "Why are you doing
Why
this?
somewhere else
Cheaper,
yeah.
more reliable."
because everybody else does it. I mean, that's the reason why I'm not.
Yeah.
Is what I tell them. It's like, why do I want to be like the freaking
Pink
herd?
Mouse, if you're listening to this,
shepherd.
I'm talking to you, mate. So basically said to me, what are you doing? It's ridiculous. You know, it'll sound better. It'll last longer. All of this jazz. That was all absolutely true. I said, I think I replied like, are you seriously advising me that as a business model for people who want one-off pedals, I should use 3-pence resistors?
Like,
that's what you're saying.
It's like, you
Like,
know,
I was a knobhead.
it's you know,
Like,
homogenization is like a disease. Everybody's got to be the same. You got to wear the same clothes, eat the same food, say the same words. It's a slippery slope. You start making everything like everyone else, then you might as well not be in a reality that's interesting anymore, you know.
Circuit design's more important, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I think for you guys, because you're able to scale up, then it makes absolute perfect sense to use what you can get, like that's available.
We're in like this weird, like we're on the cusp of being, like scaling up, but then also we are quite niche still, where it's like we have a loyal fan base of guys that like particular tones. And because we get people saying, oh, can you make a chorus? Can you make a delay? Can you make all this stuff that is not quite in line with where we would normally want to push it? And because we have some goals for other specific stuff, and it's we don't want to be just a generic boss, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
So you're not going down the SMD route,
no,
that market, that market is so saturated. Look at who you're up against. You're up against like the powerhouse of Behringer. Behringer owns everything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you're going to do that, partner with Behringer and let them release your stuff. Don't like, you know, don't try and go up against them. I mean, that just, you know, it just makes no sense.
Here's a good one from Aaron. Yeah, people never account for your time and your employees or whatever to actually make money. I got a lot of stick for this on the. I did the follow up to the Josh Scott video because I felt bad and I was like, maybe if I do one of my pedals and show that, you know, it's the same for everyone. And I charge my time at £30 an hour because that's what I get paid
you make,
in work. And I thought if I take my Navy wage and then divide it down to a year's work, whatever. And everyone was like, well, you couldn't, that's not right. Like, what can I do?
I know it's crazy. And of course, they're not accounting for the fact that at the start, you pay yourself nothing. Like I was doing this on the side of working 3 teaching jobs, 2 bands, but getting like no money for this at all, taking the risk. It's all, and you don't see all the graveyard of builders that have not made it. You just see the ones that have got through. So there is a risk to doing it. And if you get through to the end,
risk.
Yeah, then you should be compensated for that. And there's nothing wrong with that. People get upset with you sometimes making a bit of money, but it's like, why shouldn't you be paid for your time?
Yeah.
And it's also the money that you put back into the business in developing newer stuff, isn't it? Like if you haven't got the money in the first place, you can't do any development. We've hopefully got a couple of things we're trying to do, like Aaron's battery thingamabob hoojama that amazing pedal wheel one.
That's a great product name there, Adam, for free. The hoojama flip.
But you know, you have to spend time, resources, effort. And people forget all of that. If you want to be a Behringer, just rip everyone off and, you know, make things super cheap, or you want to be trying to do better and you know, progress stuff, isn't it? So it's have we stolen? Maybe we should do it, Chris. What's this hoojama flip? No, bastards.
Yeah, I think it's very like it, because again you see these people would like, I don't want to bring this up, but you see the classic argument of, oh, it's only $20 in components, so why is it? I don't even want to open that kind of worms, but it's like, we know, it's like, okay, good luck. If you want to go and try and build that for $20, good luck, because you'll need it, because you've got no chance.
Yeah.
But $300 sales,
$300 in tools and failures later.
And the skills that you learn along the way cost how much to learn. But have you seen the Bitsbox website? They do like little pedal kits, and all it is like real cheap components put in with a bit of aero board and a stop switch. They're like 15 quid. They're great. So I've started building them for YouTube, and people are going, see, you can. How much is this going to cost when you sell it? Well, it's going to be £200, mate, because I've made it.
And you did the, you did the artwork, you did all the stuff. You know,
it's mad. But I don't know why people don't understand. It's like footballers, and let's face it, they say they pay 200 grand a week. It's ridiculous. Yeah, but they make that club maybe 500 grand a week. Why shouldn't they have a share in that? You know, it's
well, and then
the
other thing is, like, you know, they're looking at the stuff that's being put out for £25, $30, whatever, on the market, and not taking into account the fact that it's being made in a country that's not really selling it for the true value, like what it would cost. Like, that's artificial pricing, and that's what we are dealing with the trade inequities between, you know, the overseas manufacturer in China and like what we have, you know, being made domestically. It's like you can't compete with somebody that, you know, is paying the equivalent of, you know, cents on the hour to what we get paid. That's just, you can't compare those two.
I want whatever I have. I want it to be individual, and if I've got a pedal on my pedal board, I want it to be different to everyone else's.
Yeah, and so you're not going to get that from something
just
that's
weird like
mass-produced
that
either.
Yeah, exactly. I want it to be in enough lower quantity that I may never bump into one, or, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's the allure for vintage, though, isn't it? You know, there's less of them, so.
I mean, how many of the original, like, you know, Fuzz faces were made that year? Like the very first time the Dallas Arbiter had it in the round case, like there's probably only, like, you know, a few hundred, right?
I can't. We talked about this a while back, Paul. I think there's a few different numbers floating about, but to the point of it, it's not enough. Well, it's funny because it seems like there's actually quite a lot of Fuzz faces, because I think they're quite unique and distinct. So when you see one on Reverb or eBay, you guys might have had them or owned them before, and you might have seen them. And I've ended up buying back a Fuzz face that I've had 3 times now, and but you know it's the same one because it's just got the
it's got the quirks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
all the little things that you just notice. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be fair, guys like Aaron, who's watching, those guys go to the end of the earth to look at the details of, like, even the way the glue melts from a certain year with a certain brand of glue.
I love that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, isn't it? It's like it's proper detail, but there's that's cool. Whereas if you buy even a modern pedal like ours, it's going to be the same as the next one because it's a different model. It's like not the same vibe.
Not the same, yeah.
But if you buy one of yours, Joe, you're going to get more in line with that old school one of one.
Well, it's going to be one of one, exactly, unique from.
I have this weird thing where if anyone buys a pedal and doesn't like the sound, I'm happy to mod it, because they're so, like, you may have tried someone's pedal and gone, oh, I want one of them. It's not going to be the same. So I'm always happy to take one back and give it more bass or less bass, whatever, just because my model's so weird. And I realize that's a massive pain in the ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dominion.
It's so hard to market.
Niche market.
Dominion was chiming in there and
really
said
hard.
there's way more than you'd think of the original Fuzz faces. They're not as close to rare as like the early tone benders and Mark Ones. So, like they said, the Mark Ones have names like sunbursts. So there we go. That answers that question. They probably like took it and ran with it once they figured out they had something and the uniqueness of it. So they probably saturated the market. I'd imagine that.
Yeah, but how many of them have gone in the bin because the transistors were misbiased?
Oh, I know. Like, how many did Eric Johnson like go through?
Yeah, my bass player tells me horror stories of people back in the day just literally throwing Fuzz faces into skips because they sounded crap. They were worthless. Like, and even that nowadays, you wouldn't even get that with, like, even if you had a really cheap crap Chinese pedal, you probably wouldn't just throw it in the bin, would you? It's a weird concept that they did that. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But they did.
It's madness.
Yeah.
I feel like I was born in the wrong era. That's what it is.
Imagine the YouTube content diving into skips, getting the rest of the Fuzz faces. That would be crazy.
Man.
That would be insane.
I'd do it now. I dive into skips to get components and work. So ridiculous.
Yeah.
You have these massive circuit boards full of vintage 80s components, because Warships are all 80s technology, and you're not allowed to take them, but they can go in the skip and then you're allowed to take it out. Ridiculous.
It's nuts, isn't it?
They're probably just like,
that's a separate secret channel. He's got that as a side channel. Dumpster diving with Sailor Joe.
Well, the thing is, all the guys who work in the electrical sections, they're all like, "Oh, Chief, can you come and take a look at this for us? Because something's broke." And I'll swoop in. Mechanical engineers are usually thick. That's why I'm a mechanical engineer, because I failed every test. But then, because I'm not too bad with a multimeter or whatever, I'll come and fix their kit. And he's like, "Oh, we've got all these PCBs for you." Like, cheers, mate.
What do you reckon to that, Paul?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a mechanical engineer as well, so
Mate, let me tell you, you join the Navy, you do this test, and then you join. If you get a certain mark, you can join as an engineer. And when I joined up, the top half of them got electrical because you're clever, and the bottom half of them, here's your hammer, and off you go.
See, mine was different to that. It was actually, they had a special engineering program which was half mechanical, half electrical, and people doing mechanical didn't want to do special because it was seen as lower. It was actually, because mechanical design engineering is, well, when I was going through uni, that was actually the higher one in electronics, and people who did like foundation courses, if you didn't get high enough, you couldn't go on to mechanical, you had to do electrical, and then it would be like manufacturing, then it would get lower and lower. It was kind of weird, actually. So yeah, it was like quite a good thing to do. But there's like mechanical engineering, and there's mechanical design engineering, and thermodynamics and stress calculation, all that kind of stuff, and
hate it all. Every last little bit of it.
Started getting into thermodynamics and stuff.
What I hate the most, mate, out of everything, psychometric maths. If I see another Mollier chart in my life, I'll set it on fire. I can't stand them. I've never once had to work out how cold a potato got in half an hour.
That's the thing.
Why do you need to know
so much maths for engineering, and I've never used any of it because it's all online, or you use like a CFD program or a FEA program. It's just
you've got a known formula.
I didn't even go to school. What do I need to know maths for? I got where I am by not knowing it. But they made me learn anyway.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
It's the tenureship. Professors need their paychecks. That's what it is.
Yeah, no way.
You got to have a system. So hey.
Well, mine definitely didn't earn it. Let me tell you that.
Well, I don't know. Is that the one that
taught myself off YouTube?
Was that the one who told you he didn't care? It's like, I don't give a fuck, mate. When you pass the test.
Basically, you will know that your calculator can do some sums for you. You press a button, it does like all this magical stuff. Well, on the course notes, it said you can buy either of these two calculators. So I got the cheap one, which was rubbish, and didn't do any of that. I forget what the name of it is a Casio something or other. And he said to me, "You're too stupid to pass this course, and you'll definitely never pass it with that calculator." And I was like, "Yes, I will." And I spent 3 years doing all this working out, writing it all out, and said, "They're just using the calculator one button." And at the end of it, said, "Pass with that calculator." And he went, "I don't care."
You're an idiot.
Oh no!
He just looked at me like, "Yeah, I seen you struggling." I literally don't care.
That's horrible.
That's great. I've had teachers like that too.
The Navy just get one in to teach you whatever. It's like degree level. Well, I got a degree out of it, so the degree level maths for engineering. And it's like, what's the point in that? You never use it ever.
Yeah, well, I think when I started doing it, we were in that transition in going to computer aided design, so you still needed to be able to do those in-depth calculations, and it was is it going to go to computational modeling, or because it wasn't that great back then, you get so many errors and it would have to run for like 2 days and it'd cock it up anyway, so you still had to do the calculations. But that was when it switched off, and then after me and my mates who did our degree, we were like, we're never going to use any of that ever again. It was completely pointless. As long as you know how to interpret the data you're now getting, that's what you paid for, to understand it. But it's anyway. It's
the same in the Navy. I mean, the Navy's like 20 years behind, I think, in technology wise. It has to be, because, well, anything complex doesn't work when it's under stress, and what is being at sea at war? It's stress, isn't it? So it just doesn't.
Sounded like going to public school in America in the 70s and 80s. Like, I had textbooks that were so out of date that, like, there were things being taught that had been disproven. Hey, we lost Joe. Anyway,
it's now the pedal porn podcast. I'm
hey, let's crash the ship.
All right. Well, so what do you think about those giant capacitors that he puts into everything, and the
Well,
fact
I
that he
was
put
going
the
to ask
smallest
him about that.
capacitor into his amp? Like
Yeah.
he had that one capacitor that was giant, and he said, I got to take this out. And then the one that he found was like super small. I was like, that's the exact opposite of what you do in your pedals, man. They're gonna call you out on that. He says, I'll never do it again. So
You'll just see Joe in the chat in a minute. Joe will be there in the chat. Like, it's like, how
stop
dare
being
you?
horrible.
Yeah.
Man.
I don't know if something's happening too on my end. I'm starting to like get garbled audio. I can't hear you guys, and everything's
Paul, it's just
frozen
me and
up.
you, mate.
Maybe I'm here. Can you guys see me?
No,
You can hear me?
No, we can't. John, where have you gone, mate? It's just me and Paul. No, you're there.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where I could hear you, then I couldn't hear you, and it's like, oh no, am I about to go out now too? So
we've hijacked the whole
had
stream.
A lot of, we've had a lot of snow and ice here for the last couple of days, and really cold temperatures. So it wouldn't surprise me if like some internet transmission stuff got damaged or whatever. So
oh man, yeah, we had
where
the
are
same
you
here.
based? Is it Carolina?
yeah, North Carolina.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm in North Wilkesboro, which is like a little small town that a lot of big things came out of. Lowe's Hardware was created here. NASCAR was born out of here.
Oh.
Yeah, like a lot of moonshiners and outlaws and smugglers and all kinds of crazy Revolutionary War. We kicked your asses here.
Wasn't hard.
Yes.
It's kind of weird because I actually live about 15 minutes away from where the Newmarket factory was.
Oh,
not
wow.
actually that far from Newmarket in Cambridge and stuff. It's kind of weird being in that area where all of the transistor stuff kind of all kicked off and that.
Mate, you should go and dumpster dive there.
I know. Well, yeah,
if only.
It's all like luxury apartments now, mate.
Oh, is it? Oh, I thought
Yeah.
it was still there. Is it like? Is it not like some kind of?
You have to.
Is it still a factory though, or is it just nothing there?
No, the Philips building. Well, for what was Pi, there was Newmarket was like up the road, and then because Philips bought Pi bought whoever else, and it was all incestuous around there. But yeah, I think they knocked the main Philips building down a few years ago and put a load of travel lodges or crap like that on there instead. But because a load of people where I worked all moved from Philips to where I was when they shut it all down. So it was it's cool. It's it's an interesting place to be if you find oldies who know what went down in those places.
Yeah, we had
in
Asheville, in the Asheville area, we had the CTS factory. So there was all kinds of like manufacturing for potentiometers and also Sprague. I think it was CTS Sprague at the same time, Sprague, depending on which region you're from and how you pronounce it. But, we had like all the vintage transistor and capacitor and resistor and potentiometer manufacturing there. And it became a super fun site. And then they built a Walmart on it. So that's where the Walmart in Asheville is now.
Yeah.
So,
it's bonkers, isn't it?
it is.
Do you ever look over? Because I feel like when I look over to the American market, I'm always like jealous because you guys have those vintage Fender amps. But do you ever look over at the UK guys?
Oh yeah,
you got because we have a certain subset of gear.
You have a certain stuff. It's like the stuff that I'm like, I've got to like go through back channels and get somebody who found something or went over on tour. And it's like especially in the effects pedal market, like when I got my Color Sound Super Wah Swell, like I was just like over the moon that I got it from a guy that was also in the producer and engineer side of things, and traded off some gear, and I took it apart and it was like completely original. It looked like it was brand new off the shelf, purple, and so I was like, and it didn't sound like any other wah that I could find in the States. Like it gave you that. The only difference between it and the one that Hendrix used was it didn't have the fuzz built in and it didn't have the yellow color, but it was still the same era.
Oh yeah.
So
I love those old Color Sound pedals. My stepdad had a Super Wah, which was always in my cupboard when I was a kid, and when I was old enough to realize what it was, I got it out and played it, and he told me he bought it for like it was like £10 or something.
Like
stupid. It was-
tenner or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, back in the day, like
Yeah.
nothing. It was basically giving it away because they were like, they didn't think it worked either, and I plugged it in and it worked fine. It's just like they probably didn't know how to hook it up, but we ended up selling that for loads of money through Reverb, just so I could give it back to him, and then he didn't care because he was just like, you know, only paid. he wasn't bothered. In fact, I think we sold it. It got returned, and we traded it with Josh Scott. Then he's got it now. So I might try and
we
get
can
it
stop
back from
talking
Josh
about him
then.
now. He's back.
Oh yeah.
He's back.
Stop talking about him.
Sorry, mate. Technical difficulties.
Oh, it's all gone silent now. Joe's back. Well, Joe, we
it's kind of awkward.
won't say anything back, mate. We won't say anything bad. Joe,
I heard something like Joe's a wanker, was it? Or something?
Yeah, sorry, that was me, mate.
Now that Joe's back, I'm gonna have to go take a bathroom break real quick. It's been an hour and 20 in, and so all the Romulan ale and coffee's catching up.
I thought that would be me. I'm normally the one doing that.
Yeah,
I'm terrible for it.
Yeah. So Joe, Joe, congratulations on hitting that threshold on YouTube of getting monetized and stuff. Because that must be amazing for you, mate.
Mental. I didn't realize how much they pay me. Like, I can't believe I do it for free. I think
and you still do.
Yeah, exactly. I was like 98 quid was my first payment.
So did you say 19?
98.
Oh man, that is good.
That's mental.
Chris only gets 50 quid.
I know. I feel like it's getting siphoned off.
That was like it was like 6 weeks though, because obviously you've got to hit a certain amount. But yeah,
that's amazing, mate. Yeah, well done. Because that is. I remember at the start, like for ages, all I wanted to do is just get the. It wasn't even for the money side of it.
It's the 4,000 watch hours, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. But there was a reason.
Hard.
Yeah, that's right. There was a reason I wanted to do it for. It was like it almost like at that time it unlocked some different things that you couldn't do unless you were monetized. It was weird, but yeah, that was a big must be a big milestone. Like must be a great feeling for you to do that.
Well, it was my like 2-year goal was to get monetized and hit 2,000 subscribers. I started last April and I've achieved it. So I was like, well, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's yeah. I think it's gonna be interesting to see, exciting to see how where you take the channel, because it's like I feel like you are definitely offering a lot of value. It's sort of in the same way Josh is doing now with the deep dive in the pedal builds he's doing. It's like it's gonna be I look forward to seeing it, mate.
Cheers, mate. I like teaching. I really like teaching. And that's what I thought this new job was going to be when I left my shit before. It was going to be, last time I was teaching hydraulics and refrigeration. So I thought maybe I'll go back and do something like that. And then when I got there, it's like, no, mate, you're HR. Like, brilliant. So yeah, I just needed something. And yeah, it's made me look at circuits, more circuits than I would have, you know. So like I've done a couple of ZVEX circuits or ZVEX. I can never. Which way round is that? Well, I've just built this. Have you ever seen these hubcap John? Tobacco tin fuzz pedals.
Yeah.
He sent me a kit. So I've just done a Stevie Ray tube screamer. Seen that circuit?
Hey.
I saw the. Is it a Joyo mod or?
Oh yeah, I did that, but I just did a tag board.
Right.
I'm just editing it now. Yeah, but it sounds so much different to a normal tube screamer.
Yeah.
So it's like some of the coupling caps are missing and stuff.
Right.
And the op amp spiced and whatever. It sounds basically clearer. Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense. Yeah, the whole Stevie Ray Vaughan like quest in general for that overdrive tone, but keeping it clear is like, you know, I think everyone's always chasing that elusive Texas Flood. Like the Texas Flood sound, and it's almost like an elusive quest where you'll never quite get it, but it doesn't stop you trying.
And I think more of it's the high power speakers than people give them credit for. It's like,
to be fair, Paul's the one that got me onto that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Paul's the one that made me realise that, because we again, we're not trying to like name drop him again, but Philip when Philip Sace came over. By the way, Joe, have you seen my 60p Strat there, mate? Yeah, when Philip was coming over, we needed a cabinet for him to borrow, and he only used like EVs, didn't he, Paul? So you went on the hunt for finding those high-powered. Yeah.
So I've got. Have you seen barefaced cabs? Have you ever seen them?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So they do like a small. It's like got ports on it, baffles to make the bass different. But I've got a JBL E110 in one of them. It's like a 10-inch JBL. It's heavy as fuck, but it's so loud. Even like at guitar shows, I'll plug in my little tiny 40-watt amp into this little 10-inch speaker, and people are like, yeah, whatever. And I'll drown out a 4x12 next to me. They're so large sounding.
They're so efficient, aren't they? It's like the
EVs when I was on board playing the band, mate, I could fill the hangar with this 10-inch speaker, and there'd be people here with 212s going, what's going on here? What? How?
Yeah, JBL loudspeakers are like an industry standard for forever. I mean, they just do good stuff.
Yeah. I really want some EVs.
So I was just gonna say that the JBL in the Vibreverb is like heavenly. It's like so ice picky, glassy, like it's nice. But well, the first time I plugged into that cab that you made, Paul, I didn't realize how much of a, like you're saying, Joe, it's like how much of that tone is in the speaker, which is quite crazy, really.
And also,
so I went through
in the builds as well, and the OEM versions of like the Electro Voice, because there are differences between like a Music Man Electro Voice and a Fender one. Because we got a Music Man one not by accident, but we bought one thinking it was a standard one. And we're like, it seems to be a bit quieter, but a bit clearer. What the hell's going on? Have we been mugged off or something? And when doing a lot more research on it, we realised it was a Music Man specific one, and they were designed for that purpose. We're like, a normal EV and that one sound fucking brilliant together, because it's like the best of both worlds. It's quite interesting
Did Leo have the voice coil extended so then it didn't bottom out with the guitar? Is that right in the F series for the JBL? Like
this is the EV, the Electro Voice ones that they.
Oh right, sorry, yeah.
But I think
so
you're right.
In the JBL ones, you think
EV and JBL are like the two biggest like competitors in that field too. So
I think my Showman drink everyone my Showman amp is meant to come with a 15-inch JBL. It's the single version, so I drove deep into that because I think the dual Showman come with a 215 cab. Imagine that.
Right.
Yeah, do you know Davey Bones?
I obviously follow him, but
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think he had that
I know
same.
who you're talking about.
Yeah, he does like the most tasty gear shots, like you say, and I think he had that 2x15 JBL cab to accompany the same head you're talking about, from what I remember.
So the dual Showman had like a 4 ohm output transformer, because obviously two 8 ohm speakers in parallel is 4 ohms, whereas mine's an 8 ohm output transformer for an 8 ohm cab, which is just a 115. Right. I need to find one of that. The guy who was selling my amp was selling one, but there's just no way I could have stretched to that, you know.
Yeah.
I think he wanted like 1,500 quid for the speaker. Can't, like I can't.
Do you know, that's reminded me that I found a 10-inch EV speaker in an amp that they hadn't labelled what was in there, and I said to you about it when at Chris, I need to remember that and go and get the fucking thing before someone else nabs it.
It's so weird. So I built a Filmo sound, like I stripped one of them down and built a Dumble Tweed Deluxe, the Tweedledee, out of it, and I got the cab made for me, and I went through a speaker hunt for that. And I think I ended up with a Weber in that one, an Alnico Weber. But the difference in each speaker, as you say, was wild.
Yeah. Is that the amp you had at the Birmingham Guitar Show?
No. This is like it's covered in fawn, and it's the same sort of layout as a 2-rock combo. So where the amp's at the top and then the speakers at the bottom. So I sold it for 400 quid when it was skint a few years ago. Yeah. And the guy I sold it to, I know. And I said to him, look, mate, I really miss this amp. It's worth way more. You know, the output transformer was from 1950. It's like Fender Tweed era. It's amazing. Not to blow my own trumpet, but I didn't make the transformer.
Yeah.
And I said to him, can I buy it back? He said, no, I've sold it on. And then he did some digging. And he found a guy who then sold it back to me.
Really? Oh.
I needed it in my life. Like, I regretted selling that instantly.
I'm having the whole signal fall apart on me, guys, on my end. I'm going to get off and try and reconnect and see if it's better, because everything's going through good on YouTube, but it seems like my phone's messed up. So I'll be right back.
All right,
Okay,
mate.
We'll see you in a second.
Yeah, I'm going through a bit of an amp kick. I'm trying not to build an amplifier again because you don't make any money on them, really.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So,
But those,
what's
amps
the
in
reason? Just the time?
It's 10:30 now.
No, so no, so no, Joe. I'll say what's,
there's like 3 different questions going on there, weren't there?
sorry, Joe. I'll say in terms of the time. I was saying, why do you not make the money on the amps? Is it because of the time?
Oh, right. No, it's the components, the transformers.
Yeah, it's still garbly on my end, so I'm not understanding anything anybody's saying. Unfortunately, it's weird. It's like you guys are freezing up, and then I'm hearing like everything's going through great on YouTube on my monitor there. I don't know if we got a lot of like snow and ice. I was explaining to them while you guys while you were off for a second, and we might be having signal issues with cell towers and things. So I'm not going to be much more than just a face over here, I think. So
sorry to do that, mate.
Yeah,
and the delay kicks in.
Yeah.
I think for the amplifiers, the components cost so much. You can spend 1,500 quid on transformers and what have you, and then by the time you make the amp, you know, to put your time on top, it's costly. Like I built some train wreck amplifiers, but I sourced out the. Oh mate, I got obsessed. So I sourced out the hi-fi output transformers that Ken Fisher used. They were the A470s. They're from like a hi-fi unit, and they cost me like 400 quid each before you even start. So it wasn't really feasible, but I do enjoy doing it.
Yeah, I can imagine it's because we were on about building a Princeton at one point, Paul, weren't we?
Yeah. I was just going to mention that actually. That I tried a it's like Davey Bones has got one actually. The hand wired Fender Princetons. I tried one of those out and absolutely loved it, and was like, I got to get me like a modulus kit or something like that. But if you were going to build one, Joe? Would you just spec everything yourself, or would you get like a modulus kit or tube doctor?
I usually buy the modulus kit because he's amazing and he's a nice guy. And then I'll buy my own transformers and then probably swap out all the caps on it. But his boards are amazing.
Yeah, they
like,
do
truly
look
amazing.
epic.
And also he winds his own transformers now, and they're amazing.
Oh, really?
They're really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
His Tweedledee kit is, I'd say, built that. Yeah.
That's a good job.
He's just done a 100-watt tumble. He's brought it out this week. An ODS, so I'm definitely building one of them.
Yeah.
Not for sale, obviously, but just I've got to give Aaron a shout out there. What?
Yeah.
Love it. Right. I think if you're going to build something like a Princeton, I would definitely have a look at the Tweedledee, the way that he does his power filtering. So he splits the filtering on the 2 input channels, like the first and second stage, and more filtering, so it'll give it more of the higher headroom, less farty outy tone. You know, sort of it's stiffer type thing. So it's more like what we were just talking about for the Stevie Ray Vaughan thing.
Yeah, right.
That's not got reverb on it though, is it? Because I had the horn for tube reverb on it as well, which is partly why I was going down the Princeton kind of area. But the Tweedledee did look bloody good.
Mate, honestly, the Tweedledee, the sound out of that is probably the best small amp sound. Dumbo, everything he did, if you look at the circuit, you can kind of tell what he was going for, and it's exactly what I would like. A bit more headroom, bit like the breakup on it. There's no block and distortion in it, whereas you get quite a bit of that in the Tweed era.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an amp guy per se, but I did get obsessed with them for a little bit.
As we all do.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about, I've got a mate, Joe, who helps me with some of the guitar shows. He was on about building an amp, and I said, well, why don't you come down and we'll build one together? I'll build one, you build one, something like that. I'd love to run them sort of like experiences.
That's literally what me and Chris were thinking of doing with the Princeton one, wasn't it? And I was like, might need to go an easier one for young Christopher.
Honestly, mate, Fender amps are so well designed that you could build any of them, even something a bit bigger.
Yeah. Now I can hear again. All I had to do was like mention. All I had to do was mention to Albus Band that I was doing well, and the feed on this podcast started glitching, so I have no volume, and suddenly you guys came on. It's like YouTube's like, "Oh, he's on to us."
Yeah,
let him have it again. YouTube hates me anyway, so I mean, you should see my watch history.
Oh, I can imagine.
Well, I don't know what I'm watching, but they seem to love me at the minute.
No dissent against the globalist economy here. No, it's not like I have hashtag stop stakeholder capitalism on my coffee cup or anything like that.
Mine's
I was going to say, was there any actual Stevie questions that you had, Joe? Because I was just looking at
that's such a...
I know. I mean, I've got a...
The question that I wanted to ask is, if you each had to run a rig of your own gear, like from start to finish, as in like guitar, cables, one guitar,
so
any sort of pedals that
posterity.
you own, and everything to get Stevie's sound from start to finish, what would you choose and why?
I'll let Chris do that.
No, you go first. Paul, you go first. Mate. You got no hair.
I'm getting internet issues, mate. Sorry. What was that?
You can't use my excuse. I've already
the Les Paul with VMGs.
Yeah. That is Paul's answer. That is
yeah. I'd literally have a Marshall JCM 800, a Super Strat, and a Metal Zone. Job done.
The forbidden pedal. Oh no.
Well, he did use a Marshall Major, didn't he, for the clean sounds?
Well, but you did use a Boss Metal Zone, did you say?
He used two of them.
I'm going to hide behind this now. I'm just going to hide behind the Strat now. Sorry.
He had one specifically through his vibratone as well.
But to be fair, I tell you what, that's actually a good shout on the vibratone.
But the most important part of all was the line 6 head.
But the difference is you've got to own it, because we could go through any list of Stevie's gear. We could get the Vibreverb and put bigger output transformers in it, because that's what he did. I mean, what you own, like, it's got to be stuff that you actually have.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I own all that stuff, mate. no, I'm joking.
Not to brag or anything, but
I have to do it on the back of.
Well, he's got the Strat.
Yes.
Wait, does that Chris Bonamassa that's on the podcast here? Wait, okay.
Wait, if you got, I need to show you this actually. 1 second.
Oh, he's going to brag now. Look at me.
I started it. Sorry.
just in case the viewers haven't seen this, Joe made this really awesome.
Oh
pedal.
yeah,
Nice. Mate.
That's
and
beautiful.
It says,
"You're a tosser."
but it says, "Have you seen my 60 Strat, Chris?" Because it's in line. But man,
it's so weird, because you released the videos on that Strat, and you just got it. Was it you bought it in Norway, or was it Sweden?
Sweden, that's right. Yeah,
Sweden. Yeah. So I think I pulled into Sweden like a couple of days after watching you release that video into the same place. So it was weird, because I went round that guitar shop.
But I remember you saying that. Yeah, I remember you texted me that, and I was like, it's quite a niche place, isn't it? Like, you wouldn't just randomly stumble there. But that is a cool shop. They had a Fender Bassman there, and that is what I was cranking the guitar through to test it out. And mate, that Bassman, it was literally shaking the walls. It was like crazy in there.
Which era was the Bassman? Was it a silver face or black face?
It was proper early, like tweed, like.
It was one of the first ones.
Like an 18 watt.
Yeah, it was like
nice.
It was the first 410 style, because there was a TV front one before that, weren't there? I think they only did a couple of them though. Did you go into the other shop there, the number one guitar shop? So there's like two big. Oh mate, they had like loads of old Gibson amps and stuff and
Really?
Strats and
Oh.
yeah, it was amazing. I spent like 2 days going around guitar shops. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I know that those guys over there, like they have some super cool gear, and I just remember that feeling of playing that Strat, but into the basement, and it was like what was interesting though is they had some kind of interference from the tram lines there, and when you plugged into the old school amps, they had these crazy like siren sort of noises going off, and I was sort of like, it just felt like really bad to crank it up because I felt like I was just destroying the place, if you know what I mean. It was crazy, but
the grounding out there is terrible. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like if you have a dimmer switch at home, it ruins your just the air sort of thing. It just ruins it.
Yeah, I've got like
it's crazy how much that makes a difference.
Yeah, I've got like a troubleshooting guide for if your fuzz is acting up, and one of the things in it is like dimmer switches in your house because that can get straight into your fuzz and destroy it.
Well, that's another thing I miss about on board. If I'm testing a pedal on board, there's literally 700 volt DC or 450 volt AC cables like that going right past you all the time, and like it's just you turn your guitar a little bit, it's like great. So if the pedal sounds good on board, it's going to sound good, you know.
Yeah,
I kind of lost that facility now.
What was your coolest place you've ever built a pedal, Joe?
The coolest place I've ever built a pedal. Oh my god, I've got one for you. I don't know if this is gonna work now. Let's have a look and see if it will work. No, it's not there. Where are we? There we are. This bit. I'm gonna play it on my phone and just see if it'll come through. So this was up in the Arctic Circle, being tracked by a Russian Slava-class cruiser.
Oh, I've watched that one. Yeah,
I was building a pedal that right down the stern of the ship, and we had a flood. But
flood in the chill water bunk space location marking 4 Echo. Attack party must continue distance. All party must at the closest FRBB.
Well, that's exciting.
that was fun. Yeah. I mean, I've built them all over the world at this point, as far as Guam up to the Arctic and what have you. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I used to write on the bottom of the pedals, you know, built, for example, tracked by a Slava class or tracking. The Chinese have just released some new submarine recently. Back in 2021, we were the first ship to ever track one. So I wrote inside the pedal, you know, tracking whatever the class of Chinese sub was. I don't remember now.
That is crazy. See, you couldn't get that with a mass-produced line, could you? You couldn't get. But Paul, I think your creative place, Paul, was you built one in a Beefeater once, didn't you?
It was the Orange Reverb special, wasn't it? That we were trying it because we didn't realise they'd sell out so quick. We were like, "Oh shit, I've got to build the rest of them now because I'd only done like half of them." And then literally, Chris was like, I need like all 50 of them. So I think I was finishing off doing one in a Beefeater where we'd met up and we're like, "Shit, we better get some food and let's go." And literally, the staff were like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
like, just ignore me, mate. Yeah,
it looks a lot like you're building a bomb, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Little PCB, little box.
Man, I always say that about trying to go through customs with, this ticking device in your backpack. It's like it's never a good idea to have like this little, box of, it never looks good. The little 3D scanners, the little 3D things. You can just see these little like circuits going through. It literally looks like a bomb. It's crazy.
So, what's your favorite pedal that you've designed then, or that you've produced? If you had to pick one.
Well, I'd have to go Texan Twang, I think.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I appreciate that. That is the one that is...
That's a good one.
It's the one that I'd say is like... It can completely transform an amp where it's like... You can.
I've had 3 of them.
I don't know. Why have you had 3?
Is that bad?
No, just honestly trading them.
Right.
People have traded with me and then...
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, the thing is about the Twang circuit is like it's a bit finicky. Like if you get it in the wrong context, it will sound horrible. But if you just get it in the right context, it's hard to beat that kind of circuit, which of course is at heart a treble booster. And it just does something that I don't think a lot of people were talking about a few years back. Like it does get you that glassy kind of Stevie thing that we always harp on about. But no one was like really talking about the fact treble boosters did that. So I think that I'd have to give it to the Texan Twang, I think. Yeah, what about you, mate? What's one pedal you've built where you've been like, if I could show any, like if I could give this to, Joe Bonamaster or something or whoever.
It's the Rangemaster again. Same with that.
Yeah,
I do the old
this one.
It's that one. Oh yeah,
it's that sexy beast.
Remember that one?
That is insane. That is like one of the coolest pedals ever, isn't it?
It's just mad. I don't know. I got all excited when I was building that.
Yeah, I remember.
I can see you left some in there. We'll go now.
That's a different meaning to gooping your pedal.
Blue.
That gives a whole different meaning to gooping your pedal, man. I'm sorry.
That's a YouTube short, Joe. Get ready for that.
Yeah.
That's going on.
You're welcome.
But, sorry. To answer your question before, Joe, I didn't actually answer the question about the Stevie rig. Like,
I was going to say we went off topic.
If you had to pick one combination of gear to get the Stevie Ray Vaughan sound
that you own.
That I own, yeah. I'd say.
So you can't like say a 64 vibe reverb if you haven't got one sat next to you,
Yeah, well, there is one in there. I would say
he does. That's the thing.
No, but I would actually say 64 vibe reverb because that is the most distinctive. But it's the most distinctive, like woody Stevie sound. Like it's if you listen to the in session Stevie Ray Vaughan session with Albert King.
Yeah,
that is pure, just vibe reverb in my ears, to my ears.
Yeah.
And
well, he used two of them for that, didn't he? Two vibe reverbs.
What for that in session?
For that specific one, and I'm pretty sure is it Cesar Diaz, the guy he changed the output transformers to something bigger.
Yes, big fat bastard.
Yeah, I can't think of what amp it was. Do you know what? I've just been researching this as well. But he always had the vibe reverb, didn't he? He had like Marshall Major sometimes or what have you. But the vibe reverb. Have you ever seen the God? What's the little wooden amp? Well, it's not little. It's a bit like what Mesa do, but only UK built. That he had for the Studio Master, is it?
Oh.
You ever seen that?
Oh, is it? I might have seen it on this like article once. It's like it's very.
Yeah, it's really super linear amplifier, and Stevie used one for a little bit.
Yeah, I do know what I can visualize it. I know what you mean. I read about.
I nearly bought one, mate. There's one going on Reverb for like 15 quid. 15 quid, £1,500. Sorry, but
I was going to say what? Not there for long. If it was 15 quid.
Well, there was no guarantee it worked, and it looked in a pretty shitty state, to be honest. Oh, there's one that someone's turned into a head. There we go. There's the combo. So that's it.
Oh yes.
Oh
yes.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Very much like a boogie type thing. Mm-hmm. Sorry, mate. I interrupted you again. So we've got the vibe reverb.
Yeah, the vibe reverb. And then probably would go with the older Strat because it matches the vibe reverb really nicely.
What do you get from the older Strat that you don't get from a new one? Just to add context.
I would say. Yeah. I'd say. I've not played enough 63 Strats to know if they're all like this, but this one just has a pure woody kind of tone. Like I hate to use that word because I use it quite a lot, but it's very pure woody sound.
Like less mids. Is that right?
So that is yours a mahogany or is yours an alder ash?
It would be alder, I believe.
Yeah, because the one that I just held up, this is my 63, but this is one of the 100 and some that were made out of mahogany.
Oh, beautiful! Yeah,
yeah. It was originally red, and some punk bands probably got a hold of it. It got spray painted silver and green,
Yeah.
and it had been routed for humbuckers and like all kinds of crazy stuff. But I was able to like find all the like proper pinholes for the shaping and everything, and
Oh wow.
we had it dated, and it's a 63, and they only did like a handful because after 63 they couldn't get the mahogany blanks anymore to make 2-piece bodies, and that was
Right.
Leo's thing. He wouldn't do a 3-piece body.
Wow.
So-
I love that. I love the look of that mahogany Strats. What it's like, almost.
Oh yeah,
like,
that's a French polish that I did on it I just wanted to preserve it. I just French polished over everything that had been done to it and left it.
Yeah.
I'm a Sunbase guy. I absolutely love them.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah. It's hard to beat the old Sunburst look.
But it's something. I think the Strat sound you're talking about is like the hollow. It's like a little bit scoopy in the mids,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like
the sort of John Mayer, but
And
yeah.
it's got a lot to do with your pickups. I mean, the single coil pickup and the magnet, and whether it was potted, unpotted, like that's where your sound comes from in a Strats, the pickup. Like, so the
Yeah.
63,
what would you use it with? What pedals are you using? Pedals with it?
Pedal porn or no pedal porn?
Well, it doesn't matter. It can be anything, mate. What would you use if you were genuinely going to record to get that sound? You know?
Yeah. I probably, if I was going to use the Vibroverb, I wouldn't then probably use for the Texas Floody thing. I wouldn't really use the Texan Twang. Then I'd go more Cowboy King, Tube Screamery vibe because it adds a bit more fatness to it. Whereas the Deluxe Reverb, then I'd use the Texan Twang because it gives you that extra gritty, high end glassiness, like for what I want. Because some amps you can plug in like the Texan Twang and it'll become a bit too like high end. But then
Depends how large the amp is, I suppose, doesn't it?
yeah, there's a lot of different factors, I think.
Yeah, it's like that borderline where you've got the glass and the ice pick. You know, it's like
you don't want it too
right
There's
on
only
the
so
edge.
much you can turn it up as well to get if like the Showman, if you can get it onto between six upwards, it takes a range master amazing. But if you're playing 6 upwards on a 80-watt Showman,
Yeah,
you're shaking the walls down at that point. So
definitely. But
I
again,
know what you
as
mean.
I was touching on before as well, that the Vibratone Leslie is one of the things that is harder to come by. But that's very much if you just have that blended in subtly and pan 2 mics, left and right on the speakers, it just gives you that extra texture, which is like a massive part of the live Stevie thing, which not a lot of people can get because they might not have access to the Leslie, or that's definitely a overlooked thing, really.
do you have a Leslie style pedal that you prefer to use, or do you use your own?
Probably,
Like for like modulation type thing.
I tell you what was funny. The other day, I recorded a little track where in the background, I wanted a more wacky, chorusy, like the vibrato end of a chorus where it's just like C6 sort of. Well, yeah, you know all about C6, but it's very much. But mixing the track, we used the Gypsy vibe for that on the vibrato channel, and it completely sounded like a Leslie when it was blended in. I was like, I could have just you could have got away with saying that was Leslie, and no one would know. Really, actually, it's quite interesting.
Yeah,
I quite
probably
like
the
the bi-mode choruses. They're quite cool. I don't know why I can't hold it the right way for the camera. So whichever way I go,
because every up is down and down is up and left is right and right is left. It's like just so like
because it's got the dual one on it, you get a really nice wobbling effect between them.
The Doppler effect.
Yeah. But you do get a nice fattening from that kind of pedal, don't you? If you add it in.
Do you guys ever run wet dry, or do you just go straight into one amp?
Well, that's the concept of the Leslie thing, really. That I was watching that pedal show recently. They did like a deep dive with Scott McKeon. And they were talking about how the Leslie is essentially acting as that wet dry element, whereas apart from that, I've never really experimented with it. What about you, Paul? Have you what's it called? Rhett's dry wig.
Wet my whistle. What?
Rhett's, yeah.
It's dual mono, isn't it? Let's face it, if you're running it that way.
Yeah. Have you tried it, Paul, much or?
The what? Sorry, I was busy with my contraction. Yeah.
rectify wig.
Have you tried the dual amp setup type thing?
I have once. I think I did what the hell did I was fanning about with my JHS Spring Take reverb, and it's got stereo outputs on it. So I was putting my Jam Pedals Harmonious Monk on one side because I was just fanning about trying to see, and I think I did have wet dry going through different apps, and that was actually like, whoa, Christ, that's pretty cool. But apart from that, I never get the time to set everything up to fanny about doing all of that kind of cool stuff because we've got too many things to build, isn't it? So
I feel for you, mate. I last Christmas I got a what's the pedal that Loki released, the polyverbs, the reverb.
Oh yeah, I
It's
think polyverb.
stereo in, stereo out. Yeah, and I very rarely get a chance to plug it in, but I use a humdinger and split the signal, and that thing's just So, but funny story, I made this little box because I was like, I want to use it stereo, but I can't always use it stereo because I go, when I'm testing pedals, I go directly into me IR loader or whatever, and so I made a little switch that would like switch out the stereo signal, but I completely fucked it up. Instead of using like stereo jacks, I used like an isolation jack. So when I flicked it, it was just cutting the signal out. And I went as far as like emailing Polyverbs, Loki, and saying, look, mate, I'm having some problem with this pedal. Yeah. It's one of the first ones. I read online that you're having staggered it. He was like back and forth with emails, try this, try that. And then I looked at it and I was like, fuck, it's me. Oh, no. I had to like email him back and say, I'm really sorry, mate. I was actually cutting the signal out myself with this fucking switch.
This poor guy is probably like going through all of his circuits trying to figure out what he did wrong.
I felt like emailing him saying, don't worry, mate, I've been inside your pedal and fixed it.
Oh, God.
Most hilarious problems we get with our speed controller on the Vibe unit, that because Chris will message me saying, oh, what's this guy on about? He's got a problem with his pedal. It's only running at half speed. And I'll be like, oh, Chris knows some of the problems with that. It's obviously set all right. So I'll go in the outs of a duck's ass trying to work out what's going on with it. And then I'll be like, they are using a TRS cable, right? And he'll be like, oh, I forgot to tell him that because the cables don't work. It has to be the stereo one. Otherwise it won't work properly. And it's like every time we get it, and you're like, it's so obvious that you don't even think to say you are using the right cable, right?
But that's the thing, you can overlook like those. I've had it in the past. Joe, have you had this with your pedals where someone wrote to me and they said, okay, my pedal's not working, and I was thinking, we went through all the most complex troubleshooting you could ever do. Finally, he sent me a video of what he was doing, and he didn't plug in one of the cables. Like he just expected it to magically work. like there was no output. There's no output. It was like
he was used to wireless technology. Is what it was.
Something like that. Yeah,
he just thought it was like his phone. It was just going to send the sound to everything once you put his guitar signal in. It's like
the two things I see the most out of everything is the input and output's the wrong way around.
Oh yeah.
It works in bypass, not works when the pedal's on.
Yep.
All right, and I do that all the time because if you're working on the pedal, it's upside down. When you plug it in, you're like, "What the fuck am I?"
Yeah.
Or especially with the Kossoff drive, because it's so it's like I set each transistor with an audio probe and by ear, so then it's like right at the limit where it's going to either sound good or collapse. It's right on my hairy edge. So if you use any sort of rubbish power supply, it just amplifies. And I get lots of people saying it's really noisy. Like, is it? It sounds like you're almost plugging it directly into the wall with a wall board. They're like, I am.
That's why. Well, that's the other thing. Like, that's the one that I came across the most is like people just grabbing any wall wart.
Oh yeah.
It said 9 volts and not paying attention to polarity.
Plugging
their tip negative pedal into a tip positive wall wart and wondering why it didn't work or why it started smoking and catching on fire. And it's like
the amount of
you use the wrong adapter.
Cases I've had back for that.
Yeah,
because obviously the way I build my pedals, I don't put a lot of.
In their defense, that is so small on a wall wart, like, and you have to know what that symbol means, like the positive, negative, the ring, sleeve, all that. If you don't know what you're looking at, you just think 9 volts, okay, and without understanding polarities, and that's why they always say only use the manufacturer's, recommended whatever. It's just to
There's
keep the
another good
idiots
one,
out there
third
from
tone from
doing
the
it.
sun. Low back
Hippies.
is a good one, especially on a
wah.
The thing is, if something goes wrong with a pedal, I feel really personally responsible. You know, like for me, I'm like, I've done something that's made this pedal not work. I actually swapped a pedal with a guy maybe 6 months ago. He'd had the pedal for 2 years, and he said to me, "It's not working." And I was like, "All right, I'll take it back." I swapped it, and when I got it back, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, we have that a lot. We get a lot of pedals back to our test setup, and it's absolutely fine. And we're like, we have to. What we normally do then is send them a brand new unit for peace of mind, just so that they know they've got. But then we'll just like keep that one behind, maybe put it on a soak test or something, but eventually it's like it'll go back into production because it is fine. And it's like,
yeah, exactly.
It's funny how like people get it in their mind sometimes like it's not working, then they'll just overlook a simple thing like not plugging it in or something.
Yeah,
that happens all the time. Or like someone's got a jack cable that's failing.
Yeah,
or something.
or like a you know, like one of your connector cables. You know, you got how many of those on your pedal board, and you got one that's just got a short in it and you can't track it down. I've seen people just rip their entire pedal boards apart in frustration because one cable was bad and they couldn't find out where it was. So
Do you know, that's why I give my dad a new pedal for Christmas every year, so that when he has to rebuild his pedal board, he always gets issues like that. And he's like, "It won't fucking work." And it's just shits and giggles. Here's a new pedal, Dad. This will screw you up for 3 months.
There you go.
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm not looking forward to pulling my board apart again. Oh my word! I did it last time. I went on that. I did the pedal show experience day. I was like, right, I'm going to sort my pedal board out for this. Fucking hell, that was a nightmare. I think that was one of my first YouTube videos. Me pulling my board apart. It was shot terribly. I don't advise anyone watches it. But.
Yeah, how not to build a pedal board.
Yeah, that's what I called the video.
Yeah, the how not to build a pedal board episode. I remember that one.
I couldn't get a switcher that would fit my board with the right amount of switches, so I had to make one myself. Do you use switches or do you just go straight through?
I'm pretty old school. I like to just know that if I click it on there and then it's on. I'm pretty.
Same here. Same way. Yeah.
Well, so I can't do the whole turn 5 pedals on at once with one switch. What I've got is a switcher that is labelled up with each pedal's name on, and I just turn them on and off.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like when you watch like that pedal show and you see like if they've used some of our pedals, you'll say like twang, and I'm like, oh, it's just the best feeling seeing their labeling of a pedal. But it's by the way, what was the experience day like there? Was it cool?
Oh, I bet it was mega.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I bet it's incredible. I bet it's incredible.
My wife booked it again. I don't even know how she knew. She just unbelievable, mate. They've got so much stuff. So when I first started building pedals again in 2017, I was deployed and I was like, right, I'm going to start building pedals again. Started watching that pedal show. That's what got me back into it. And I was like, oh, because I started from the beginning. It was just 2 guys in a shed. So I was like, oh, I'm going to make them a pedal. I sent them a pedal. No reply. I was like, oh, fucking hell, that's a bit shit. But then when I went to that pedal show and realized the scale of it, they must have not even received that pedal, you know. It probably just turned up in the mail and went into it. They got so much.
Yeah, you can see even in their like back room, you just see like the amounts of boxes associated with those pedals.
Oh yeah,
but they're such nice guys. Like it's hard to convey on their videos how actually awesome they are in person. It's and what they've built is unbelievable. From 2 guys who like to talk about gear in spare time.
It's incredible, isn't it? It's and they, like I say, they were the original guys that I was watching alongside Andertons and JHS, and they were the original inspiration of like
everything.
Yeah,
I mean, before then, who was it? Gearman dude back in the day. That was it.
Yeah, that was the only one.
Shoes and coily cable. That was it.
I was trying to explain to my girlfriend yesterday about the concept of Gearman dude, about how no one had ever seen his face, and then all of a sudden one day he just like revealed his face, and it was like a big moment in the industry.
Well, I was like, oh my god, it's not Jack Black.
Oh mate, Jack, exactly. Every comment was like, this is Jack Black.
It's Jack Black.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Did you ever have one of his loofah drives?
Oh,
see that?
I nearly
It's like
got
a sundial for the tone. There's one for sale now on eBay for 100 quid.
Is that?
Yeah,
He's
I've
not
been watching. It keeps getting relisted. I'm like, I should buy that, but then I look at it, it's like it's a tube screamer. I don't need it.
But it's
There
just
and thereabouts.
Yeah,
But it's just amazing.
tube
Screamer.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one of them. This might turn to flex. I've got a Tamora mod tube screamer. I just can't let it go.
Yeah, lovely. That's cool.
It's got one of them.
Is that your
pins
favourite
here.
tube screamer mod?
No, the one I make's better. I know it's big-headed. It just is. It's less like a tube screamer. I don't know if that's
Well, I mean,
something.
It's
Your
like,
favourite
the
tube
one you
screamer,
made
not
for
a tube
yourself, right?
screamer.
Nah, the favorite tube screamer that I own right now is one that Simon JSAFX maybe. That's the best sounding one. Yeah, he can talk to circuits. I think
He is a circuit whisperer.
Yeah.
we did the tube screamer episode with him, and off the top of his head, he just banged out the circuit, the different calculations, the different, if you change this resistor by this, it'll change the tone by however many. He just unbelievable.
That's crazy. Yeah, he seems like he just knows exactly.
He can talk to him. But he'd be a guy, I bet he could come up with something that would hit the Stevie Ray sound spot on. In fact, I showed him the SRV tube screamer layout, and he was like, I'm all over it, mate. This is what it's doing. He starts explaining the circuit to me.
Yeah.
Which is,
we don't really get a chance to talk about it as much, but we've got a guy called Brian who's out like main engineer, and he's the same, isn't he, Paul? He will you'll ask him, why is this doing this? And he'll just be like, give you the exact technical info. And I just, of course, switch off because it's very technical.
I have to interpret for you, don't I?
Yes.
So Brian has to explain it to me, and then I'll regurgitate it to you, and you'll be like, okay, so it makes it right, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's classic.
But you do need that. You do need that element of it, when you're.
But I definitely didn't learn like that. Mine was like, solder these parts together. What does it do? It makes this sound. Now, if I take that off and solder this in, what does it do? I've never been like a breadboarding guy or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just never appealed to me. Like, I make a pedal, sell it, it's a prototype. Next one's a bit different, and then I'll hit a design that I like, and then I stick with it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I remember seeing the video, one of your videos, where John was saying about you don't get all of like the noise problems with stuff if you breadboard, so you're better off putting it into an enclosure and working it out that way because of those problems.
It's just loads of little antennas, isn't it? So you're bound to.
I was talking about like I've got a breadboard in a box for different circuits, and I can just plug and play components and I can see like just small value changes or composition type too. That's the main difference I found was composition in things.
Have you seen the copper sound stuff? Have you? So they do like breadboards and stuff and power supplies that take away that element of the noise.
Okay, they've got like
they take away the element. Well,
capacitance and resistance boxes.
Yeah.
Well, see the thing though that you're dealing with in certain circuits, you can never take away the noise unless you have an enclosure around it, a metal enclosure.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you have to shield it from RF frequency. Like especially when you start working with really simple transistor circuits, they become transistor radios really easily. And if you don't shield them, you're going to pick up, the CB, this, like whatever's going by, the Mexican radio stations. It's
we don't get them over here, mate.
Oh, you probably do. You just haven't heard them yet.
Yeah.
Well, I'm working on a Selma Little Giant. Has anyone ever seen one of them amps? They're tiny. They're not that big, like a little valve amp with a 6-inch speaker.
Yep.
The croc skin thing.
Yeah.
And the actual circuit is just like a bent piece of metal with a circuit slapped on it. So there's no chassis, as it were.
Proper
so
chassis.
Interference. So I'm like, I'm just gonna have to put some vent lining tape in there or something to stop it.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of our
So
Silvertone
easy.
line from the same era. Like the Silvertones, like had hardly anything other than just like some bent sheet metal and a couple of pop rivets, and here's your amp.
Well, this is literally just like, it's not even like a U-shaped bend. It's just literally a piece
L.
of metal.
It's just like, it's not even bent into an L.
No shielding at all.
No, it's just dangling. Yeah, it's just dangling there. Straight to
A plate. Oh my God.
but that's got both transformers on it. Yeah. And it's also got a, I don't know how much you know about amplifiers, but the cap on it is 230 microfarad caps for filtering fine in a can cap, but it's also got a low value, like a 50 volt, 20 microfarad cap in there, like a bypass cap in the same can cap. I've never seen that.
Oh yeah, they do that all the time. I mean, some of the can caps I've seen have some of the craziest variances between values and voltages, and they just put it all in the can because it would fit in the enclosure better that way. It was like before, you had everything, sized down to what we have now. You had to like try and make space where you could.
Just do the whole dumbbell thing and put too much resistance, too much capacitance in there to make it stiffer or whatever.
And yeah, sometimes they would over-engineer things without knowing why. They're just like, oh yeah, it works.
that train wreck I built had an 80 microfarad cap in the first filter stage. That's huge. It's like you can only use Mullard rectifiers with it, otherwise it just ruin them. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going down another rabbit hole. We still haven't talked about. So far we've got a guitar, a pedal.
Yeah, we've not got very far, have we?
No. Oh, two pedals actually, because we did say
yeah, depending on which amp, for sure.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, and then apart from that,
then we got it on the stereo rabbit hole, and Leslie's got
what about reverb? Do you use the reverb in the amp?
I like the reverbs in the amps really. I do. This is quite sacrilegious actually, but I like adding this like stereo reverb on Logic afterwards a little bit just to give it a bit more of an ambience. But that's probably the most digital sterile sterile thing you've ever heard. But it does actually. This is one setting where it's just like really lush. It just adds everything. Like
people give Logic a bad name, but I think it's a far superior recording software than Pro Tools. Pro Tools can't do nearly what Logic is capable of if you really learn how to use it.
That's the
and
thing.
It should be the studio standard, but because Pro Tools just got everybody with their proprietary stuff, then it became like the thing that everybody expected. But Logic's way easier to use, and it has better plugins, I think, too.
Yeah, if you know how to use it, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like same with video editing. It's like it took me a while to get my head around Final Cut Pro, and now I know how to use it. It's got everything you could ever want, but the initial learning curve is steep.
I'm terrible at all of that. I literally plug into the Captain X, flick through a couple of the settings. That sounds all right. Done. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, you were saying about the standalone reverb unit, was it? The Fender reverb stuff. Oh no, you were talking about having it in an amplifier, weren't you? I meant to mention
because I've only got like Marshall amps. I've not got a Fender, hence why I want to go down the journey of Fender ones.
Have you seen the Noisy Hammer reverbs that they make now? They're like 700 quid, but it's a valve reverb in like a walnut head cab. It's amazing, but it's basically no money.
Because I was looking at like the old reverb like the Fender reverb tanks that you can get, but they seem to be very hit and miss on the pricing. There was one I should have bought that came up for like 500 quid about a year ago, and I didn't have the money, and they were like a grand plus, aren't they? Everyone I've seen so far, but so what was that? Who's at Birmingham that Chris is going to buy me a present?
Noisy Hammer, they are. They used to
Noisy Hammer
cabs. Yeah, they used to just do cabs, but now they've started doing amps, and his reverb unit's amazing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the original Fender standalone reverb unit that you were talking about is worth a lot of money now. The old Tweed ones.
Well,
they reproduced them for a little while.
$2.5 grand.
They reproduced them for a little while. Like they did that whole vintage reproduction system back in the early 2000s, and they did some really good stuff then. If you can find those,
I think there's a Silverface one on Reverb for about 1,200 quid.
Yeah, the silver faces don't command the same price as the black face or the tweed, or the blonde.
Well, I'm partial to a blonde amp, I've got to say.
Yeah, I think this was a blonde that was only, I think it was 600 quid, and literally no one seemed to be taking it. And I was almost like, is there something wrong with it? Am I losing the plot? And then didn't have the money, and now I kick myself big time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd love to build one of them, but I can't justify the layout for it, the money. If Modulus did a kit for it, I probably would.
I mean,
Yeah.
eventually I
Maybe
want to
we
build
should
a
go
plate
to it.
reverb that's the size of the room, but hey,
Yeah.
it's finding the giant steel plate and a place to hang it.
Yeah.
I'm steering clear of the Modulus website while he's got this 100-watt
Yeah.
gimbal amp on the
Yeah,
front.
you love it.
Oh, mate. There's something about building a high voltage amp that I've got no right put my hands in.
Yeah.
That Modulus guy. In fact, I should probably grab it. I'll be 1 second actually.
Yeah,
This is my late Christmas present he forgot to tell me about. I wish. What's he got?
God knows what you guys just said when I went. I set you up for some good jokes there. Yeah, the Modulus guy built this custom faceplate for this Univibe that is it's an old school Univibe, but it never had the faceplate, and he literally like made it a one-off, and that's one of those jobs where I think he even said to me, I've lost so much money on this job because it's taken me like 4 weeks to do this stupid little plate, and charged me like 20 quid or something. It's just stupid, but super sound guy. But it looks half decent to get now.
spot on. Huh? Well, you can get on the amp kits he does. You can get anything on the faceplate you like. It's unbelievable.
They're really good, aren't they? And you can select, like, they've got different, cap options, and you can have all manner of stuff you can swap out and pick different stuff as well, can't you? I was a bit like, oh my God, I don't know what I'd pick. So, yeah.
Pick everything the cheapest that you can, apart from the caps. Go for the Sozo caps and then done. That's what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
His transformers are spot on though. I think he used to get them from Demeter Windings, but he doesn't now. He makes them himself, I believe. But yeah, he's really good. There's an art to that. That is definitely. So I've got a set of transformers, 200-watt Marshall transformers for like a major, like a power and an output. I'm just saving them for like a special project. And plus the major runs off like ridiculous voltage, so things like 600 volts or something.
Okay, now.
I love all that. But yeah, I don't know. So what's in the future for you guys, like design wise? Are you moving into any other sort of areas, or you just
Chris is like, don't say anything.
Yeah.
I seen the look in your face then, mate.
I did. I'm like, Paul, I'll move all your. I hope you've cleared your backdrops and stuff.
Yeah, I did have a load of stuff behind that. I think I went on a live stream with Philip Face or someone. I dropped his name in again. But there was something. I remember I turned around and was like, "Fuck! I've got a load of stuff on there." If anyone doing pedals, they would have been like, "What the hell is he? Fuck's that going on?"
Well, I always give this horrible teaser, but basically, Paul is working on something that is so different to what we've ever done, but it could literally. I hate to say
Don't ruin it.
Yeah, but it could literally change the game. And I feel like every single person that likes this kind of sound would get one, because it's something that is completely certainly not been done at all. Actually, and I think Paul's the one working on it, and this is the sort of thing we was talking about before, tying into what we was on about, like the amount of R&D we've had to do on this over the last 2 or 3 years. It's always been like the North Star of like, we want to do this project, and if we can pull it off, boom, that's game over. And Paul's been pulling his hair out. That's why he's got no hair left. He's like he started off with the hair line, and then it's been a crazy journey to get to where we are now, but we're close. We're getting close.
Time to do it, isn't it? Because
I'm not far behind, so
yeah.
You've not got the same idea as us, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I'm
fantastic.
gonna have the old man mohawk at some point. Like my grandfather on my mom's side had like these 2 stripes that went back, so I'll have like one in the middle and then like 2 on the side.
Awesome.
I know how the pattern's going to evolve. I watched it happen to my grandfather, so
Well,
I'm ready.
I'll keep the Cap family on, I think.
But yeah, that's it, mate. It's we're just sort of working hard behind the scenes, and but in the immediate future, just trying to get the orders out from Black Friday, Christmas. We're still like catching up, so it's been a big intense.
That's epic. How's the new space
Yeah,
going?
only a
Because
couple
I
of
know
weeks
you've
ago,
done quite
so,
a few
yeah.
videos in there, haven't you?
Mate, the new space is going really well. It's like it's like unleash a whole new thing for us. Like it's just so nice to be able to, a bit like how you say before about having to pull your soldering iron out on the ship or something. It's like there's no friction there now. We can just walk on, press record, all the lighting's ready. We can invite guests over. So of course, needless to say, you guys are both invited. Paul might be invited too if he's plays the card right. Yeah, no, literally, it's like it's been a massive project, but it's so nice that it's done now. It's awesome.
It looks so different compared to when you've made that first video of walking in the space. You know, it's like a different world.
Oh, mate, definitely. That's why I got
is,
excited when I saw your space when it was not done, because it reminded me a bit of the kind of like what you was working with, like a complete like carcass of a room, wasn't it? It's just like nothing there, like and then you transform it into something nice. It's like a really satisfying feeling.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I can't even explain the difference. It's mad.
Yeah. I wish I could show you guys. Like, I could risk turning the camera around, probably ruin the whole. It might be the end of my stream, but no, I better not. But it's just around there.
But
I get what you mean.
YouTube video showing it all, isn't there?
Yeah, I've watched them all.
Well, we actually.
I think. Did you?
Yeah, the one last night is actually showing you the finished thing now. So if you get a second to, it's a lot nicer now. It's all completely done. So
I don't know about you guys, but YouTube is like my TV now. That's what I watch, building pedals or anything. It's my.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I watch anything on a television, it's on Netflix anyway. So
yeah, I don't actually have a TV license here. I just watch YouTube.
I don't need a TV license because I don't live in the UK, but
there's probably still charging for one, mate. Happy New Year from Eddie Riff Khan.
Oh, here
if anyone, his pedals are pretty amazing. He does the Karen and the Claren.
Oh man, I love those.
The Claren, the Ken. So cool. The Ken is pretty cool too.
Oh mate,
the Ken. Have you seen that one? Yeah.
Mate, the Karen. The Karen labeling is like the G. Like I've literally, that's one of those pedals where I've actually sent that to people that don't even play guitar and just said, "Look at this pedal," because it's like it's such a good like.
Oh
yeah, it's hilarious.
I've done that with a few of Tate Effects pedals, you know, like the bullshit booster and stuff with Trump on the front or Johnson. Those pedals are so good.
Yeah, you have to just share them later. It's like it's crazy.
Yeah. Not that I'm political in any way, but I think on that note, we've been going for 2 hours 20 minutes, so we're gonna have to call it there before the YouTube gods descend. Is there anything you guys
breaking up again, guys?
John's tapping out early.
I think we froze on my end, so I'm going to have to go ahead and say my byes because everything's frozen. I can see on YouTube you guys are moving, but on my phone you're not. So.
No, thank you.
Cheers, guys. Hey, thanks again so much. And
do you guys want to point people to your website or anything? Not that you need anyone going to your website.
Yes, please do not go to pedalporn.com for anything else.
Go to Hello Sailor instead.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and buy.
It's all shut down for Birmingham now. I think for me. Are you guys going to Birmingham? Are you?
We're hoping to, aren't we?
Yeah, I'll definitely. Cool. I'm trying to get Chris to come along as well. Was I beat him up?
No, we don't.
Definitely. I'm going to do a video series on it. I think.
Well, we're going to do another vlog, so we'll have to team up again and do a little. Yeah.
Awesome. I think I'm always a bit funny about filming it because some people don't want to be on camera. So when I'd like to just set up a time lapse or something, but
it's horrible. It's getting over that initial that first time we went there. That's when we were starting to do a bit of the YouTube stuff on a more serious level, and it was like, oh, do we just stick a camera in their face, or do you have to ask? Or I think even with you, Joe, I said, oh, can we film a little thing because we didn't know how if you'd want to do it, and you was like well up for it. So it's like I think
I was trying to contain the excitement, like I'm not seeing like the dog. Throw the ball for me, throw the ball.
That's it. But we'd love to do something again. But it's yeah, we're definitely hoping to go there and say hey to you. And yeah,
Awesome. Well, if you're there, maybe we'll go for a beer or something after the show.
we'll be there all night, mate.
Class. Right. Well, hope everyone's enjoyed the show, and thanks for watching. Cheers.
Thank you, Joe, mate.
Cheers
Thank
all.
you.
Right. That's